Tonight on the Black Channel. And just that quickly, the illegal aliens are a part of the budget. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel, and I am the Black Authority. And you are listening live to the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, as always, it's my job to report these things and to keep track of it. And that's the issue I'm taking a look at here. You watch as things morph, and not slowly. You know it's an agenda when things change, and they don't change slowly. They change lightning fast, with no vote, no election required. It's just hurry up, rush it through, rush it through, rush it through. And these are your so-called Democratic friends, and yet they are on the front line of disenfranchisement, specifically targeting black people here. Coming out of New York. From the Associated Oppressed, New York lawmakers passed $237 billion budget with policies to jumpstart housing market. Well, Jason, how could you possibly have an issue with that? How could that possibly be a problem there? Okay. The devil is in the details. Unfortunately for you all, as usual, I'm here to bring you the details. I want to go through this so you understand exactly what it is that we're referring to here. Now, this is from Dateline, Albany, New York. New York lawmakers passed a $237 billion state budget Saturday. That's yesterday, during the weekend. Over the weekend, hoping that people are not covering it, hoping that nobody's watching it there. You see a whole bunch of stuff happening then. You see a whole bunch of stuff occurring on the weekend now. Ain't that amazing? The package also includes a raft of other measures, such as expediting the closure of some state prisons, addressing a recent influx of migrants, and continuing the pandemic-era policy of allowing people to buy takeout cocktails. Some of this is going to sound downright Orwellian, by the way. Now, I want to jump in here. I want to talk about housing real quickly. The plan offers developers a tax break if they agree to rent a portion of apartments in new buildings for below market price. The deal also includes measures to protect some tenants against unreasonable rent increases and evictions, though it was not as comprehensive as many advocates had wanted. Okay. Says here that lawmakers also moved to address the explosion of unlicensed cannabis storefronts. In New York City, bureaucratic hurdles have made it difficult for the state to shut down the shops, which have become ubiquitous in the Big Apple. To help solve the problem, the budget includes policies that would allow local law enforcement to more easily shutter stores accused of selling marijuana illicitly while their cases play out. Previously, most enforcement could only be done by the state, and such stores were able to stay open with a lengthy appeals process played out. Okay, now next. State officials also earmarked $2.4 billion. Damn! State officials also earmarked $2.4 billion to care for an influx of international illegal aliens who have overwhelmed, bum rushed the doors of New York City's homeless shelters. Not just the homeless shelters, the entire city. Take a look at how the media recrafts all of this. They never talk about black folk like this. They never recraft the language there. They never do that. The money will go toward, listen carefully here, housing, legal services. What? These so-called nonprofits, that's what that means. And health care for the migrant population. So if you can't get in to see a doctor in New York City, don't worry. Your tax dollars are paying for illegals who haven't done anything and they shouldn't even be here. They're here illegally. And instead of turning them around, because remember, we had mass action against foundational descendants. We had mass action against us. Mass incarceration, mass policing, mass targeting, mass oppression, mass gentrification, mass eminent domain, mass removal. And you still do. But for these other folks here, we're not doing mass rejection. It's only like 100 and something thousand of them. Millions of black folk can get dealt with in mass. But for the illegals, no mass action for them. And they are doing much more action against more black people than they are against the illegals. And just that quickly, they're telling you everything you getting, we're going to make sure they get it. And they don't have no bootstraps required. We're going to take the money out of your black pockets and put it into theirs. Says here, the state Senate Republican leader Rob Ort criticized the measure during floor debate, saying it would encourage more migrants to come to New York. Quote, "We made a lot of tough decisions in this budget, but $2.4 billion goes a long way, and I just wonder what that could have done in other parts of the budget for legal New Yorkers." $2.4 billion. No study, no debate, no years of hand-wringing, no media sitting down. The media usually sits down and goes and grabs some Coleman Cruz and sits him down next to somebody else, and we're here to debate, should black people get reparations? You notice when they're talking about us, when we show up, when we're in the discussion, they bring out, well, here's one side and here's the other side, and we need to discuss this, and we'll sit down and have a round table and plebiscite, and we'll sit here in committee and community, and that's what happens then. You didn't see anything like that here, now did you? No media roundtables, no panels, no discussion. No, we need to talk about this. No, you can't just throw money around. We can't just give you billions of dollars. What? Remember? That's what everybody says to us for the last 50 years. What? We can't just give you billions of dollars. Well, that would bankrupt the city. That would bankrupt the state. That would bankrupt the... And besides, you can't just do that. Well, the Constitution and purse strings and bureaucratic red tape, and you can't do anything like that. That's not going to work. Remember, that's what they say to us every single day when we show up. All of a sudden, you can't just make money out of thin air. You can't just grab it out of thin. You can't do that. We don't have the money for that. And then remember, that is why myself and the new black media, while I was beating the drum when COVID happened, and they sat up here and pulled $2 trillion out of the air while simultaneously telling you and me what couldn't be done. Simultaneously telling us what can happen and what can't get done. Telling us that There's not $100 million for you and me, but there's $2 trillion right out of thin air. I'm not counting the Ukrainians, the Afghans, the Israelis. I'm not counting any of that. I'm just counting right here for what we have historically been talking about, what we have historically been discussing. They're sitting here proudly telling you that they are $2.4 billion. What they're saying is they're approving this money over the course of the next decade. That's what I want you to understand. They are telling you that they are funding this and they want to put this in here for over the course of the next decade. That's why they want to lock in that money now so that they've secured the funding for the next 10 years. So in other words, if the kids of the illegals are 5 years old, they'll be in high school and they've been fully funded. And they're going to tell you that those kids are citizens. The first generation won't be able to be citizens. They'll be illegal aliens and residents. But they're going to tell you that the children, oh, no. Those are citizens. And they want to make sure that they have stolen enough money to properly secure that and fund that now. Yes, over the course of the next decade. That $2.4 billion, remember, Eric Adams was saying that they needed $300 million a year. That's telling you now that they're looking here for over the course of the next decade. That's what they're telling you. Over the course of the next decade. So even if they never mention this again, even if they never speak on it again, they've already stolen the money now with which they intend to fund this buffer class for the next decade. Mathematically speaking, I do not see what you can do in New York City now. New York City has officially fallen. I do not see what black people, particularly those of us of foundational lineage, I do not see what you do. The math is not there. They have enlisted the entire government at this point has all gotten on code. It is now official government policy, fully funded in the budget. That's where we are today, not where we're on the way to. This is where we are right now. This is the situation right now. Not, well, in 10 years it will be. No, we passed that a while back. We passed that a while back. And we're here now. We're here now. $2.4 billion, which means the illegals have a separate budget of their own. The illegals have a separate budget of their own now. And that didn't take no 50 damn years, and it didn't take a Supreme Court order or nothing. The same politicians, the same political class, the same political structure, the same court system that told us you need decades and centuries, and can you get enough petitions together, and can you get enough politicians on your side, and oh, we need to have an election, and we can't just pull money out of thin air. And with these other folks, it's like, yeah, we lied to you niggas the whole time. We can do it anytime we want to. We're white and we say so. We're white and we say so. I'm just here reporting the news now. I'm just here reporting the news. Want to show you one more thing here as well, by the way. One more thing it says here as well. They were talking about folks getting their liquor, because we certainly wouldn't want you to have to go without that. That's kind of important to have. We're talking about folks getting their liquor and getting their booze. The budget also contained measures that would offer paid time off during pregnancies, enable New York City to lower its speed limits, and expand access to booze, with proposals to extend the pandemic-era sale of to-go alcohol drinks and allow movie theaters to sell hard liquor. They're going to allow the movie theaters to sell hard liquor. So the illegals get free money. And what they're offering everybody else is, well, would you like some weed and some wine? Would you like some weed and some wine? And oh yeah, we brought these illegal alien prostitutes over here. So now you can get weed, wine, and woman. The opiate of the masses. You sit there and you be distracted. We're going to plow you with booze. We're going to plow you with marijuana. We're going to plow you with prostitutes. You sit there and do that. This is in the budget, and this is the laws that they were debating and discussing. And it didn't take them no 20 damn years. It didn't require 50 years of committees. They got it done quick, fast, and in a hurry. And that was it. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. Radically different from what they tell you and me, isn't it? Radically different from our experience. Radically different. Going on here a little bit further, because you're seeing that happen in New York. You're seeing that happen in New York, and that's not happening by accident. I want you to understand what that is. When you move on over to Chicago, the folks over there still giving Mayor Brandon Johnson the business. They're giving him the business, but I want you to understand you're seeing some things now. I'm not really sure what this Chicago red is. It's Negroes going around with hats. This red, they got their MAGA hats on. Not really 100% certain what the deal is with that, but at this particular meeting, they showed up here. They showed up, and I want you to hear just one. There were several folks who made comments. I want you to hear this one here in particular. They're talking about giving another $70 million. Another $70 million for the illegal aliens. Another. They've been given tens of millions already. Now they're like, hey, we need to give another one. Yeah, no vote, no talking to y'all required.
Our next speaker is Prey Islay.
Good afternoon to the city of
Afternoon.
Chicago. I am P. Ray of the 37th Ward. Chicago Red is our organization. Because we started this session with a prayer, I want to start my comment with the scripture. 1 Timothy 5:8 says, "But if any provide not for his own, and specifically for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel." So I want to talk to y'all today about not going to hell. In the 37th Ward, there was a family, the Jones family. Amarie Jones was standing in her family building that they've owned for 40 years doing a TikTok dance with her mother. A bullet came through the window, hit her in the neck. She fell to the ground in front of her mother and bled to death. A month ago, on the Chicago mugshot page, her mother was on that page. Her mother had on her daughter's Rest in Peace t-shirt. She washed it so many times that it was completely faded out. She was completely high, out of her mind, and the charge was possession. Now, the first $51 million that this council gave to the migrants came from the opioid settlement funds. I am here on behalf of the Jones family, on behalf of the 37th Ward, on behalf of Black Chicago, on behalf of the entire city, to ask you all to vote no and put that money back in the opioid settlement fund. We need that money in my neighborhood. We need that on my block. That woman should not be at Cook County Jail because she's grieving over a random act of violence that caused her to lose her child in front of her face, when the city of Chicago has millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to give to people who ain't paid a dime into the tax base.
Oh. Well, did you hear that? Did you hear that? So this came out of the opioid fund. Did you get that? Yeah, did you get that? So they got tens of millions in the opioid fund there. Tens of millions. Tens of millions. And they're saying, yeah, this would be a great place to get the money from for illegals. By the way, no debate. No debate, no discussion, no vote. Okay, we'll go ahead and grab that. Because the illegals who are not supposed to be here, the citizens who built the city are not the responsibility, the illegals who don't. You get that?
We've been in my building for 52 years. We're about to pay some more taxes. The Jones family has been in their building for 45 years, paying taxes every year on time. So I'm asking y'all to use our tax money for our people. We need it. We got people leaning. We got people rocking. We got overdosing. We got pass out lines. You live on the west side, Mayor Johnson. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We need the money for us. We need opioid treatment on the west side of Chicago. We are the headquarters of the cartel, and everybody in here knows it. They selling more drugs than the law can allow, and y'all giving money back to them because they traffic those people up here, so we paying them going and coming. Absolutely not. We pay too much. It costs too much money to live in this city. Help Wanda Jones. Help every other grieving mother who feels like she has to go get high to get over the loss of her child. This is a woman who lived in that house. She still sleeps in that living room where her daughter passed out and bled to death. So I'm asking y'all to say no, put these people on the back burner, and put the money back in the opioid fund. We need that money. Thank y'all.
Well, very well said, very concisely put. Very well said, very concisely put. Very glad we're having a meeting here. Want to go ahead and skip forward a little bit. There's another little old lady comes jumping up here. Another little old lady comes jumping up here. And I want you to hear what she has to say.
Early this year. We're going to check that list when it go up on that wall for voting, and we're going to check it twice. And we're going to find out who's been naughty or nice based on how y'all vote. And we're going to start it off with Maria Haddon. Yeah.
Chicago and some communities so angry? Why is all this kind of anti-immigrant sentiment coming up? And I want to explain to folks, it's because if we cared as much about black people and had over the decades as we do about everyone else, we wouldn't be here. But the money from a 2020.
All right. That would be Maria Haddon. Stepping out there, I see you. Don't get sarcastic because we can get jiggy, right? You set up here for that first 51 million talking about how you feel about black people and how you have to have the same energy for black people, and you ain't never stood on this floor talking about money for black people. You get on this floor and talk about black and brown because you somewhere in the middle with it, right? But I'll tell you this, and I'm telling every other black alderman in here today, you vote for the money for these immigrants today, and we coming for them seats. You can believe that. You're going to stop pimping the black people's plight to get brown people, as y'all call it, money. You're going to give us our press conference up there on the 3rd floor, keep talking to the mayor's boy with the clink clink from his past. That's why he got to do what the mayor say do. Him and a lot of other ones in here with these shady pasts. That's why you got to vote the way that you vote. But all of us ain't got shady passes. Some of us free out here, and we can vote how we want to vote, and we coming for those seats. Now, to align yourself with somebody who's obviously a one-term mayor, if he even makes it that far, you better be worrying about your job. You better be worrying about your longevity.
Okay. Now, let me go ahead and stop here for a moment and address who she mentioned. Now, you saw that she was playing an audio recording. You saw she was playing that?
If we cared as much about black people and had over the decades as we do about everyone else, we wouldn't be here. But the money from a 2020.
All right. That would be Maria Haddon.
Okay. And this is Maria Haddon. This is her. Right here on the page there, that's her. This thing is in the way here, but this is Maria Haddon. She is alderwoman for 49. And yes, sir, boy, she looks like she's competing with drunk Uncle Lightfoot. Look like she competing with drunk Uncle Lightfoot. If you think these things are harmless, think these things are harmless, no, they're not. She been competing with drunk Uncle Lightfoot. That's what she doing. Up there in Chicago, the lesson to take away from this is this idea that, well, if they black, they should know better and do the right thing. By the way, Maria Haddon's domestic partner of 10 years is the proud daughter of illegals, immigrants from Puebla, Mexico. And a hardworking single mom. This woman is completely divorced. She is completely and totally proudly divorced. Proudly divorced from black folk in Chicago in every way, and yet there she is. Yet there she is. At some point there, you got to understand what you're looking at. They've allowed a lot of that to go on. And black people are not homophobic. What they say up here in London say, okay, well, let's go ahead and flood the zone. Remember, flooding the zone is a strategy. Flooding the zone is a strategy. They flood the zone with folks that look like you or could pass to be you. Because remember, you have a whole bunch of folk out there that are either Afro-Latinos or could pass for Afro-Latinos. And when folks start targeting black folk, here they are getting their Sammy Sosa on. So that's who the woman here was referring to when she talked about Maria Haddon. Maria is letting you know that she's here specifically to work against the interests of black folk in the city. She's going specifically to work against you. Now, I want to bring you one more commentator here during the meeting. Oh, and this one is a doozy.
Hello, my name is Sarah Tomas Lemna, and I'm a community organizer with Asian Americans Advancing Justice Chicago, and I live in the 5th Ward. I'm calling on City Council to approve $70 million in funding to support new arrivals until the end of the year.
What? Yeah, did you get that? Here she comes jumping up here. Hi, I'm here to advise you. We need to spend $70 million on illegals till the end of the year. To the end of the year. She's advocating for an open-ended budget.
Sarah Tomas Lemna, and I'm a community organizer with Asian Americans Advancing Justice Chicago, and I live in the 5th Ward. I'm calling on City Council to approve $70 million in funding to support new arrivals until the end of the year.
New arrivals? What the hell? So just understand something. When I'm telling you all about these universities and stuff, these are the most criminally dishonest, lying people that you could ever imagine. They make up their own alternate vocabularies and tell you, oh, I'm not here for illegals. I'm here for new arrivals. Where the new arrivals come from? Oh, they came illegally from Mexico. They came illegally from where I came from. So I want you all to understand that's the buffer class strategy. They allow in one generation of illegals. The children are citizens, and the children go to work advocating for yet another influx of illegals. So the children become advocates not for the community or the city. They become advocates for where they came from. They become advocates for that. I mean, she is shamelessly up there. I mean, she isn't even wincing. She's shamelessly saying it.
Hello, my name is Sarah Tomas Lemna, and I'm a community organizer with Asian Americans Advancing Justice Chicago, and I live in the 5th Ward. I'm calling on City Council to approve $70 million in funding to support new arrivals until the end of the year. Asian Americans Advancing Justice Chicago has been working on mutual aid with new arrivals across the city for over a year now. In addition, we have been part of the Bring Chicago Home campaign and Stop Shot Spotter Coalition, as well as have advocated for long-term solutions like treatment, not trauma. The common thread in what you have heard today is our anger in a broken system that we must reimagine together.
How are we obligated to reimagine a system for non-citizens? You haven't reimagined it for the black folk who built the nation. And here, one of the anchor babies is showing up here. Hi, I wanted to show up to let you know that I'm here to advocate for illegals everywhere. So you can't say this is a political agenda. They're not qualified to vote. They're not tax-paying citizens. And yet here she is. Recognize that now. She's the only one, but here she is. Shamelessly looking you in the face and shamelessly telling you about your obligation to her homeland.
The system that maintained generational disinvestment in communities of color across Chicago.
Okay, there's why we dumped that communities of color and minority garbage. They mad as hell about it now. That's why we dumped that language. That was why we dumped that verbiage. We are not here to advocate for, quote, people of color, because she is part of the buffer class targeting us and shaking your hand with one hand and stabbing you in the back with the other. Oh, I'm here for all of us people of color. And she's not saying anything that benefits us in any way. Illegals are a liability to us. Illegals are part of the white supremacist buffer class strategy to target us. She is sitting up here, people of color. When she says people of color, she's not referring to us. But these people are trying to hijack our historical language, talking about racism, but she can't talk about white supremacy. Don't worry, she's going to get to that here in just a few moments about systemic racism. And it's not racism when you're not a citizen. It's not racism. You're a citizen of Guatemala. You're a citizen of Honduras. You're a citizen of Colombia. Nobody's being racist against you. You coming all the way up here. Hey, let me in your house illegally. It's racist for you to tell me I'm trespassing. It's racist for me to be trespassing. You weren't trespassing back in Mexico. Yeah, well, open the damn door. Let me up in this son of a gun. Let me in, damn it.
And this is what prevents our city, one of the richest cities in the world, from paying a little bit more into the public safety net system while schools and mental health clinics shut down in our communities.
You hear that? To pay a little bit more into the social safety net. You're not supposed to be here. Your safety net is back where you came from. Your safety net is in Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala. And when you allow the anchor babies to sit up here, which is what so-called immigration reform immediately on the heels of civil rights, we passed the civil rights laws, which they have not enforced, by the way. And yet immediately after that, okay, let more illegals in, let more immigrants in, undermine these Negroes. And in 50 years, the kids will be grown and they will be here undermining the descendants of the slaves. Talking this garbage about a safety net. There is no safety net for a non-citizen. There is no safety net for me in Mexico. There is no safety net for me in Honduras. Certainly not if you're there illegally. There is no safety net for you. This is outrageously, disgustingly insulting to people's intelligence for her to speak like this. That's why she's there by herself. But take a look at who she's caping for.
Food prices, rent, and childcare costs rise, and thousands of our neighbors.
Okay, she's the part of the problem. The food prices, the rent prices, the childcare prices. Yes, trying to take care of Chicago and Tijuana, taking care of Chicago and Bogota, taking care of Chicago and Rio de Janeiro. Hell yeah, your prices are going to go up on everything. You're not taking care of your city. You're trying to take care of your city and several other countries on the fly without them contributing anything. Hell yeah, the prices have gone up, and she's advocating for exactly what's causing the disease.
And mental health clinics shut down in our communities. Food prices, rent, and childcare costs rise, and thousands of our neighbors continue to sleep on the streets. The common thread here is systemic racism, and these disinvestments.
What? Did you hear that? The common thread here is systemic racism. This is why we have to absolutely gatekeep people. We have to gatekeep these things, and I here in the new black media have been doing this now going on 2 decades. We have got to gatekeep our language. No, folks, it's not enough to say what we are for. We got to say what we are against, and we are against any other people attempting to hijack our vocabulary and put it into service for themselves. You are not going to bastardize and rape our language. You are not a victim of systemic racism. You are a trespasser. You cannot be victimizer and victim. You are a trespasser. You're describing trespassing. No, I'm not. I mean, we need to look out for me. You're trespassing. We're not trespassers. We're builders. And for you to sit up here and talk about systemic racism, you're not a victim of any damn thing. You're a carjacker. You're a hijacker. You're a trespasser. You're not a victim. We are the victims of systemic racism. The descendants of the slaves in America are the only victims of systemic racism because systemic racism in America was created specifically to target us. She's not a victim of anything. She is the mugger. She is the robber. She is the felon. She is the criminal. Trying to sit up here and say, yeah, I'm just like y'all. The hell you are. So, folks, if they do not come from our lineage and do not push our agenda, systemic racism can only be subscribed to one group of people. The descendants, and that's it. We are the only people that the phrase systemic racism applies to. It doesn't apply to anybody else. You chose to come here willingly. You fought and risked your life coming here willingly. You're not a victim of anything. When you decided to make that trek to come over, you ain't no damn victim of nothing. And for you to sit up here and try to rape our agenda and our language that we created to describe what is happening to us and to claim that it's happening to you, who it is not and never has, is absolutely inexcusable. So, folks, we have to gatekeep this language. When we talk about reparations, it is not enough to simply say what we're supposed to get. We also have to say who is excluded. You can't just define it as, well, this is what we're supposed to get. No, we have to strictly define and enforce who it does not apply to. We talk about systemic racism and reparations, and here come a bunch of glad-handing, carpet-bagging, white supremacist sympathizing minorities coming in behind us. Yeah, that's right. Systemic racism. Yeah. Down with the racism and the patriarchy and whatever else. Down with all that damn. No. She is a thief and a liar and a con man. She's not a victim of systemic racism. Systemic racism does not apply to her and illegals. You're not victims of anything other than a poor work ethic. If you are such a benefit and such a asset, you'd be an asset back where you came from. You know, getting the cartels out is hard work, but if you're hardworking people, the cartels should be gone. Every time we turn around, you have an excuse for why you haven't fixed the mess where you're from, but you sitting on our back saying, okay, nigga, get to fixing my mess for me. I came all the way up here to Chicago so you can fix my life. You can fix it for me. So no, when you see somebody like her, she's not black and she's not a freedman background. It's, oh hell, who the hell are you to talk about systemic racism? You shut that down. I don't. Now here's where you all get into a trick bag, because you got to understand, little lying double agents like her will try to make you think that you got some sort of ally, and there are no allies. So she'll be talking about systemic racism, and she'll be one of the first folk to talk about, oh yes, and how the police oppress black people in this. There's systemic racism against black people. They'll sit up here and go dangle one or two causes out there. They'll go dangle one or two people out there. They'll go pick up one of our subjects out there. And then she'll be running up talking about, oh yes, what happened to Laquan McDonald? That's absolutely wrong. Total injustice. And I'm with Asian Americans for justice. Don't you mean Asian Americans for self? Look, I'm all for Laquan McDonald. But Laquan's dead, and that issue has already been addressed. Long before you came along. What you here for? Well, also, what happened to Laquan is synonymous to what's happening to us over here in Asian illegal aliens. It's the same as what happens to us. That's a damn insult for somebody to say that. No, The only folks we caping for, the only folks we acting for, the only folks we stomping for, because when that big tent policy, the only thing they can do with the big tent is back our play. They cannot come in using our language trying to co-opt our arguments. Systemic racism is an argument that we created and we articulated just for us. And just like civil rights, just like so-called equal rights, we said civil rights and equal rights, and then the white supremacist society said, okay, bring in the white women. They need equal rights. And then equal rights became the slogan and the tagline for white women. After all of our decades of saying civil rights and equal rights, when they got done, equal rights was the tagline and the trademark phrase of white women. That's why we have to be ultra vigilant. No, even if they try to give you some token ally talk, why I'm all for that, and OJ was innocent, and Laquan McDonald was a victim, and Trayvon Martin, no, that's a shame. Okay, sit your ass down. You can back our play, but if I hear you use our phraseology, because 1 minute they'll be using it in reference to us, and then the very next second they're going to turn around and say, and it's bigger than just black people. Well, yes, systemic racism, it certainly affects black people. Well, it started affecting you first, but it really affects everyone. Yes, you were the first victims of it, but it affects everyone now. And we need to deal with that. So just understand how the screw turns. When they get done, just understand what they end up doing. No, even when you got these little soft-spoken chicks who sit up here and hang out with black folk, and they'll be taking pictures with you on Instagram and talking about, quote, social justice. Now you see these are phrases that they're trying to smuggle in. They want to smuggle in this new nuanced vocabulary, and when you get done, it's no longer talking about you and your issues at all. It's only talking about her and her issues, which are specifically to undermine us. Now I want you to hear what she's doing there.
Rise, and thousands of our neighbors continue to sleep on the streets. The common thread here is systemic racism, and these disinvestments have kept communities of color down for generations. This is
communities of color. That's not illegal aliens. She's sitting up here trying to conflate communities of color and illegal aliens. Do you see how criminally dishonest this little heifer is? I mean, she's a little propaganda. They need to go check and see if she's a member of the Communist Party in China. Where exactly did she come from? Because, I mean, she's looking you in the face and just telling bald-faced lies and sitting there with a straight face saying it. Baby, what kind of meth are you on?
Systemic racism has also blocked any positive action on, and these disinvestments have kept communities of color down for generations. This systemic racism has also blocked any positive action on immigration from Congress for almost 40 years.
Did you see that? Did I call it or did I call it? First, she's talking about systemic racism, then saying, and this systemic racism has prevented immigration reform for 40 years. Black people are victims of systemic racism. We have the only legitimate, I've told you this now for over a decade and a half, we have the only legitimate claim. We have the only righteous claim. Nobody else has it. And every time you turn around, somebody's sitting up here trying to parasite and leech off of our righteous claim, our legitimate claim. We're the only ones with a legitimate claim, and here comes this damn bastardized carpetbagger sitting up here talking about, and you know, racism, immigration, illegal immigration, that's about racism too. People who don't want illegals here, that's about racism too. So you niggas need to be backing me and mine, because systemic racism is also about immigration and illegal aliens. By the way, did you all notice we've been dealing with this now for decades? That's the point I'm trying to make to you here and reinforce to you. When white women wanted to overthrow white men in the workplace, who did they come jump up with? Black folk. They found a group of sycophantic, ass-kissing black females who they could co-opt on their side. And then next thing you know, they became the official mascots. And when the white women got done, the only people who got anything out of so-called equal rights were the white women. While they claimed to you that so-called women's rights and black rights were the same thing. Remember? All your so-called white, so-called women suffragists, Susan B. Anthony and the others, when they talked to black women, they tried to convince them behind the scenes, well, you know, women's rights and black rights, I mean, that's really part of the same struggle, you see? When you get to the 40s, 50s, 60s, really part of the same struggle, you see? So we made headway, we made tremendous progress, and here come these other people to sit up here and jump on our backs and be leeches and parasites. And, oh, well, you know, it's not just about black rights, it's about equal rights. So they come and show up at our marches, they come and show up at our rallies, they come and show up at our protests talking about they support us. And then as soon as you turn your back, they're telling you, and by the way, black rights, the struggle for black rights is a struggle for human rights, which is a struggle for white women's rights. You see how they sit up here and try to steer away the agenda and steal the agenda. They come up saying our language and then try to redefine it. I'm talking about right in front of your face. And by the way, systemic racism isn't about black people. Why, if you want to fight systemic racism, you got to take a look at women's rights. And by the way, if you want to deal with systemic racism, you got to take a look at LGBT.
Auntie, chill.
Remember? We've been talking about that now for a decade. Every time we turn around, they're trying to hijack our agenda and tell you that you can't discuss black rights, you can't discuss black oppression unless you include LGBT too. Why, you're not discussing LGBT. We show up to talk about what's happening to black folk, and then they either have some double agent, some sleeper agent, sitting up here jumping in the middle of the mix and jumping up the program. And by the way, we need to talk about misogyny and patriarchy and homophobia. Yes, we all came here to talk about what's happening to black people, but we need to talk about homophobia we don't need to talk about racism from white society. We need to talk about homophobia among black people. So we cannot discuss black rights until after we have discussed LGBT. Every time they jump up, they don't ever say we need to deal with white supremacy first and deal with everything else second. Every time we talk about white supremacy, they jump up and tell you, no, we need to stop talking about white supremacy. We need to talk about something else. Coleman Cruz, Tarana Burke, and all the rest of them. And yes, lineage does matter. But you notice they all got the same game plan. That's how you know you're dealing with agents. Every time we discuss white supremacy, they jump up and say, okay, we need to stop talking about white supremacy and talk about this other thing first, and we can talk about white supremacy later. But yeah, y'all talking about white supremacy. I came here to tell you we need to stop this discussion of white supremacy. Y'all got this big group of people together. Stop talking about that. Let's talk about where you Negroes are oppressing homosexuals and women's rights and LGBT. So folks, every time you turn around, when we start discussing black agenda, black rights, black empowerment, we're making progress, and somebody jumps up and says, yeah, black empowerment. And also black empowerment is also about LGBT, and it's about white women, and now it's about illegals. Systemic racism is about the illegals who trespassed and entered the country illegally. So if you want to deal with systemic racism, you don't want to promote systemic racism, do you? Well, then you need to do more for me and my illegal aliens. Folks, we ain't supposed to be stupid enough for somebody to sit up here and play the damn Jedi mind trick on us. Illegal aliens are a negative. They are a minus. There is nothing about supporting illegals that helps us. Supporting illegals is detrimental to us. Now they sit up here, well, we oppressed just like you. No, you're not. You fled. You need to go deal with your situation where you came from. You ain't gonna come over here and say that you're like me. Hey, I fled from where I ran so damn fast, nigga. My feet was smoking like Fred Flintstone, and I'm here now, and I'm a victim just like you. You're not a victim of a damn thing except your cowardice and gutlessness. That's all you're a victim of.
Immigrants is systemic racism, and these disinvestments have kept communities of color down for generations. This systemic racism has also
Did y'all hear that there? Did y'all hear what the people said? They said, we're not the same, which they kept us down for decades. You hear some folk behind her saying, we're not the same.
Communities of color down for generations. This is.
You heard that? They're giving her the work up in here. They're letting it be known. You stop that. We're not the same. You can hear the folk behind her talking. They say, we're not the same. We're not the same. No, we're not. We're not. You're not one of us. Y'all, it's not just that we're not the same. Here's the language. You're not one of us. You're not going to take our language, co-opt our language, our agenda, our vernacular, and sit up here and tattoo it on your ass and then talk about I'm just like you. No, you're not. You're not one of us. We're not the same. You are not one of us at all. There's nothing, absolutely nothing that you are doing or got to deal with that has anything or any similarity to us. No, we're not the same, because you're not one of us.
Systemic racism has also blocked any positive action on immigration from Congress for almost 40 years. Immigrants are simply not a priority in the federal system. And so I want to speak today to urge you to vote on Friday for $70 million, which will be pulled from city reserves.
Well, take a look at this little anchor baby. Why, she's like, hey, by the way, we can take $70 million from the city reserves. We can take $70 million from there. I mean, take a look at the entitlement. Take a look at how the gall of her and the entitlement she has. Well, we need to take $70 million out of the city's reserves. Yeah, you don't have it in the regular budget. Just take it out the reserves because me and mine need to get it. And by the way, do you all notice what she's not asking for? Did you all catch what she ain't asking for? DJ Vlad and the rest of the bunch of the carpetbaggers and suspected white supremacists, she's not asking for college education. She's not asking for scholarships. She's not asking for student loans. No, she wants straight cash money. She's saying, hello, I'm here to represent criminal illegals, and we need to get broke off straight cash money. No scholarships, no student loans, and we ain't for that. We're the bread. I came up here to talk so nice and so polite. I'm here to be the public face of it, so nice and so polite, and we came to get the money. No. Those Negroes over there talking about cut the check. Yes, cut the check for us over here. Not for them. Cut the check for us over here. Over here now. You want to talk about sleeper agents, people?
Immigrants are simply not a priority in the federal system.
Nor should they be. They need to be a priority where they came from. That's where they are a priority. Why don't you show you can do something and finish building your nation? If they were, folks, Marcus Garvey said it, and it was true, that you can't take all black people to Africa, back to Africa, because if they were useless in one place, they'll be useless somewhere else. That's correct. You can't bring them over here from Africa to America. If they were useless in Africa, they'll be useless over here. And if they were useless in Mexico and unmotivated in Venezuela and unmotivated in Guatemala and unmotivated in Honduras, they come here, they're going to be equally useless here. First of all, they have no right or no business to be here. Second of all, the logic doesn't add up because they were useless back where they came from. They were a burden where they came from. Many of them criminals let out of the prisons where they came from. It wasn't just Cuba that did that with the Mariana boat lift. They've been doing this in South America here. Okay, send the criminals up there. In New York City, you got whole groups of gangs. So you're dealing with social warfare. You're dealing with social warfare. And she's sitting here telling you, you need to make it a priority here. No, they need to make it the priority where they came from.
And so I want to speak today to urge you to vote on Friday for $70 million which will be pulled from city reserves, not from any sort of funding to support individuals impacted by the opioid epidemic. In addition to those $70 million, we also need to start thinking about long-term solutions to fund affordable housing and economic development that will benefit all Chicagoans.
Yeah, let me and the illegals in first, and then after you've let us in, then we need to discuss ongoing funding. Folks, the same thing you just heard in New York City. That's what I'm trying to let you know, is that the agenda now is that this is not a one-time thing. They want their folks to get paid and financed in perpetuity, while telling you and me about, remember, this will be the same kind of little anchor baby up here who will be telling you in 10 years that the folks who came over here pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. Now, that's what she'll be saying in 10 years, or her children will say in 10 years. That's what they'll be saying then. Just remember that after she does all this and secures ongoing funding. People, I've been telling you now for over a decade and a half, you can't make it coming to America penniless. You have to be financed. You can't make it coming to America with the hospital system and the school system unless somebody finances you and sponsors you. There is no pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, and that's why they're making sure these people are funded. Making sure that their kids are funded, schools are funded, healthcare funded, housing funded, and then telling you the whole time, oh, they working hard, then they don't need any money from us. They're not a burden on the system because, well, they just can't work. They're a burden on the system here because they were a burden where they came from. And they are continuing the process of being a burden here. And if she thinks they have such a great, wonderful, they're so great and wonderful, she needs to go back where she came from with them, so they can show us the glorious utopia that they're on the way to building. Oh, wait a minute. They're not building it.
So on Friday, this council will have that opportunity, and I urge you to vote yes to borrow $1.25 million over the next 5 years and to make economic security a reality for more of our neighbors. In addition, I would like to urge council to vote against the order that calls for alders to be able to choose whether to remove ShotSpotter technology on a ward-by-ward basis, and also calls for any decisions related to violence prevention funding to be brought to the Public Safety Committee and to a full City Council vote. We reject the intention and the outcomes of this order and support Mayor Brandon Johnson's decision to cancel the contract with ShotSpotter citywide. Chicago has long been a welcoming city, and we are committed to ensuring that it remains that.
When has Chicago welcomed the black population? She is absolutely disgusting of a liar. I mean, she is young, but she is the most shameless, despicable, reprehensible, lying piece of filth. No, I am not being hyperbolic. She is a disgusting, lying piece of trash.
That way. We are facing a challenging moment, but it's nothing we haven't faced before. Thank you.
Those are the 4 illegals that came with her on the bus.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Thomas Linda. The next speaker.
All 4 illegals over there, so just recognize that. Now, the first brother who got up and spoke, I do want to play what he had to say real quick, just the beginning of it, because he kind of goes on a bit of a rant. But
the prayers passed millions of dollars. that this $70 million, $70 million, and not counting the past millions of dollars that this city done approved of, or this state and the county, etc. $70 million. Y'all won't even put $1 million in one neighborhood.
Did you get that? $70 million for illegals, and y'all won't even put $1 million in a neighborhood.
$1 million in one neighborhood. Brandon Mayor Johnson, you say that you for the children, etc.
I mean, that's the point I've been making the whole damn time is, could you imagine if the city had a proposal and said, we're going to invest $70 million into the South Side? Well, they rolled out the red carpet for Whole Foods, but I'll be damned. What could you do on one city block in Chicago with $1 million? Now, $70 million, imagine what you could do with 70 square blocks while you're sitting up here talking about Lincoln Yards. While you're sitting up here talking about Lincoln Yards, and yet you taking $70 million you want to take $70 million out of the reserve for people who shouldn't be an expense because it's illegal for them to be here. But I want you to understand that $70 million is the anti-black war fund. That's the point. That $70 million is the anti-black war fund. That is the fund, that is the city's budget to attack us. If you're gonna fight a war, you have to fund that war. That's the point I'm trying to make. People, if you're gonna fight a war against black folk, you gotta fund that war. The drug war had to be funded. Understand that. Infiltrating our community and flooding it with drugs had to be paid for. And then the prison industrial complex to jail you for it had to be paid for. Not one crime bill, but 2 crime bills, and then continuing budget legislation. That had to be paid for. If you're gonna fight a war, you gonna have to finance it. If you want to knock black people down, you gotta pay for it. And if you're gonna keep them down, then you must continue paying for it. I've told y'all for over a decade and a half that they consider this kind of stuff to be a tax. The white supremacist society considers it to be a tax, but then again, it's not a tax on them. They taking the money from black folk. So they've got us funding the war against us. When they talk about spending money on the white side of town, they talk about investing, shopping centers, brand new luxury apartments, cafes, amenities. That's when they talk about the white side of town. When they're talking about Lincoln Yards, when they talk about the north side of town. Well, that's what when they discuss that in white side, that's what the money is for. Black folk, oh, there's no money for you. Yeah, we can't spend anything over there. We can drop 70 million in the laps of folk who shouldn't even be here. But for you, yeah, we ain't got a dime. We don't have a dime, not a penny. But then again, how would you when this is your representation looking as bat crap crazy as she can be? This heifer looks like the damn me cowardly lion from The Wiz. And yet there she is. So Chicago, look here. The Lori Lightfoots, the drunk Uncle Lightfoots, and the Maria Hennessy's. No, you can't have this. You can't have this. There's going to have to be a strict standard. And yes, as black voters, you must target the current so-called black politicians. This has to be the issue. Everybody gotta go. Everybody gotta go. They're supposed to be standing up to Brandon Johnson, and they're supposed to be spoken in a clear voice. And this heifer here is supposed to be the first one hitting the bricks and leaving, so she can go off and pursue her LGBT obsession in peace somewhere else. But then again, I wanted to tell you something else about that, by the way. How do you expect Maria Haddon to sit up here and fight illegal aliens when she's sleeping with them? What? You want her to fight illegal immigrants, and yet in her daily life, that's what she's sleeping with. Yeah, you want to talk about a plant. You want to talk about a Manchurian candidate. This is why, as black people, we must be unapologetic about saying what the black agenda is. And we must call it a black agenda. And this picture says a whole lot right here, doesn't it? Take a look at her and take a look at the folk around there. This picture says a whole lot. Chicago is one of the most racially segregated cities in America. And take a look at what's around her. Take a look at what's around her. Yeah, they don't have a problem backing her because they know she ain't gonna do nothing for black folk. Yeah, they're perfectly fine with that because they already know who she gonna stand up for. And do not be deceived into thinking that Brandon Johnson being a one-term mayor represents the end-all be-all. Brandon Johnson can leave, but if you do not have a candidate with a black agenda to take his place, they're just going to give you another puppet candidate who will change a little of the language, none of the policies, and keep all of the foolery. That's what will happen. That's what you'll be dealing with, and that's what you'll have going forward, because that is the trick bag and the con job that they're running with today, and what it's always been. So we cannot be simple-minded and unsophisticated. Getting rid of Brandon Johnson isn't the end-all be-all. He's got to go, but you don't get rid of Brandon Johnson and, quote, elect someone else. You get rid of Brandon Johnson and elect a black agenda. If you are not specifically electing a black agenda, you ain't getting nothing done, period. You're not going to get anything done if all you do is swap out one compromised puppet for another one. It's not going to work at all. They keep folks sitting up here saying, okay, we need to do one thing. It's not just about him. We need to clear out the city council. Well, it's not just about that either. You got to have candidates who are going to back our agenda. Coming up talking about progressive. We don't need any more little biracial LGBT motivated college students who have been groomed by the Democratic Party and the Democratic political machine to be double agents working against us. We don't need any more of these Coleman Cruz individuals here who got one parent who may or may not be from our lineage and another one who damn sure isn't. And then here they go giving us crazy language and undermining us. Oh, I'm progressive. It's all about progressive. All these college students that they groomed. Coming out of these universities that they groomed. And then send them out there amongst us to be double agents and Manchurian candidates. And talking to you about progressive as if that's black. Progressive is not black, and mentioning black is not black. If you're not talking about, by the way, hey, you disenfranchising us and you're sitting up here using illegals to take things from us. No, we need to spend $70 million, but you need to spend it on our side over here. That's where that needs to be. If they're not discussing that, just understand you're talking to a plant and a puppet. That's what it's always been. No, we don't need another one of these bug-eyed college students that they picked up here out of obscurity who love throwing their weird-looking asses in front of a camera and then using political wonky language like progressive. Who the hell is progressive other than the insurance company? What are they doing for us? It's not about progressive, it's about black. And now you understand when they progressive and diversity. And the next thing you know, they go straight to work against us. Soon as she gets elected, all right, let's knock these niggas out. No, we don't need another bug-eyed, wild-eyed class valedictorian student council president. We don't need another one of those. You take a look at Simone Sanders and all the rest of them there. The Melissa Harris Perry's, you know, they got all these weird niggas sitting up here coming from all these weird, wacky, way out places. And they've had folks monitoring them for decades. They've been monitoring them for decades. Barack Obama was monitored for decades. No wonder once he got into office, yeah, the jig was up and the game was rigged. They've been monitoring him for decades. They're having a harder time. Take a look at this. Maria Hadden is the first black queer woman. The first black queer woman. That's what she's here for. What she's telling you is, yeah, I'm against you. I'm against you. I'm here to put on the face and go ahead and vote for that. And you start assuming what that means. When I say progressive, well, you just assume what that means. And when I say diversity, you just assume what that means. But yeah, I'm a black female, but I ain't for black people. That's what we get. It's a black female, but she's not for black people. Not for us. However, you might disagree. Therefore, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. As always, you're welcome to join us. Want to send a big shout out here to everyone who has contributed toward tonight's program on PayPal, Venmo, Super Chat. Thank you very much here to NJ Williams in the Super Chat. We appreciate that. My man, Mr. Richburg. Chadwick, thank you very much for your support here as well. And to all the other folk here, people who become members of the channel tonight, thank you very much for your support as well. We appreciate that as always, because if you have a war effort, it needs to be funded. So thank you very much for your support. We're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we'll be taking your phone calls and more. This is the Black Channel.
Hello, my name is Steve Burgess. I'm the author of this book, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-aged child. In this book, I've explained the role of the parent and the student in addition to what accommodations, procedures, rewards and consequences and expectations that need to be in place to ensure student success from primary to high school. This book is available on Amazon.com. For more information, please visit my link tree at Easy One-on-One. And to access my latest podcast, A Teaching Moment with Mr. B. Thank you all for listening.
A white supremacist assassin seeks revenge. Corrupt FBI agents with evil intentions. Dangerous black collaborators dedicated to treason. Occam Jeffers must defeat them all and somehow survive. One misstep and he's a dead man. Join Occam Jeffers as he looks the devil in his blue eyes and tells him, Black first. A sequel to the underground hit War of the Heart, Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents God Love Us, on sale at Amazon. Pre-order and save today. Visit spiritOf1811publishing.com and show your love.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' natural body butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth, in the cosmos, in all dimensions of existence. You are, of course, welcome to join us. We're going to go ahead and get to the telephone lines here. Let me get caller from area code 415. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Denise in San Francisco. Can y'all hear me okay?
All right, Denise in San Francisco, what's on your mind?
I wanted to say, I've been an activist since the 80s. And that little heifer up there is just out of her mind. I got Hispanics and liberals who won't speak to me to this very day because I've been talking about reparations for the last 20 plus years only for black people. So they pissed off with that. They want to ride off our suffering and get paid. They're out of their minds. Okay? Now, this heifer sitting up there trying to tell us that extreme racism is and extreme racism. Hell, when it's time to stand up and fight those white supremacists, the Hispanics are no place to be found.
Well, as far as the Asians are concerned, it's even worse than that. Because as far as the Asians are concerned, they get together with Ed Blum against us.
Hey, well, they claim racism is against them. Okay, time to have a meeting, time to have a rally, time to chip in some money. They ain't to be found. So they're not with us. And I tell them that these people they're bringing in here, they haven't fought for nothing on either side of the border. They haven't fought to get a better system for themselves. They run here. When problems start up here, they're not going to fight for anything. They're going to run behind us and talk like they're our buddies. We ain't got no lines with them damn folks. Okay? Okay, now what have they fought for since they've been here? What? The only thing they fought for is to ride off our coattails. They haven't fought no social, communist, Marxist. That's them liberals talking that shit. They ain't fought for none of that. They ain't fought no racism. They haven't fought for no type of progress with the school system, the housing system, the medical system, higher wages. They haven't fought for a damn thing on either side of the border. And I got Hispanics and them so-called white liberals pissed off at me because I keep bringing that reality up. You got to have a borders for your own country. You can't let just people run here and you don't know anything about their psychology. Okay? They could be coming from jails. They could be coming from mental homes. You can't let them serve in the military. Half of them ran away from the wars where they're at. And you're going to get them here and try to put them in the military and give them high-powered weapons? That's a formula for a disaster.
Well, I mean, okay? if you're at war, it has to be funded and it has to be armed. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Now, let me get caller from area code 313. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Call from area code 313. Last try. You're on live.
Yeah, Jason, this is Marcus from Detroit. I'm going to take in a different direction, but the same topic. I'm blaming these heifers who went out to the birth abortion, got all these abortions done over the last 50 years. You killed off 20 million of us. We should be at 80 million. We're stuck at 40 million, and now we've been overtaken. It's over for us. Everything that Dr. Anderson says is coming true. We are a permanent underclass now because you black bitches killed off 20 million of us. Now, the Asians is going to catch up with us in another 30 years. The Latins are already going to catch up with us and overtaking us. We are totally going to be subjugated for the next 100-plus years, if it's not more. I'm just so mad because we did it for ourselves. We just did it for ourselves and we destroyed ourselves. California's done. California used to be 22% black.
Okay.
It's down to 9% now.
Well,
and they
let me
5%
go
by the
ahead.
next
Let me go ahead and address something here. Back up. Let me just go ahead and address something here. I don't co-sign dudes referring to black women as black bees like that, dude. I don't know. I don't co-sign that.
It slipped out. I apologize.
Okay, because I can understand y'all have feelings about things and there's passionate stuff or whatever, but we don't refer to them that way. Now
You're
they
absolutely right.
can do
And
some
take that
hoish
back.
stuff for this, that, or the other, but let's be very, very clear about that. I'm not gonna put chicks having abortions on a pedestal. No, we're not gonna do that. But we must be careful not to make blanket indictments against black womanhood. We must be very careful not to do that because we are the most powerful voice as the calm yourself down. We are the most powerful voice as there is. We are the ones that people. Okay. Dude, if you talk again while I'm speaking, your ass is gone. I don't know what you're on. I don't know what you're smoking. I don't know what you're drinking. I don't know what your meth is. You were slow as hell to pick up the phone. I don't know what side of your head your mama dropped you on as a baby. But dude, get your meds. Why don't you take a moment to be quiet, go get your meds, and then you can go talk in a little bit. You've already said more than enough. I let you speak. And you shoved one foot in your mouth and then got a shoehorn so you could get the other one in. As black men, we are the leaders, whether folk accept that or not. Period. And we need to be careful when we make statements that are very clearly blanket accusations, particularly where black women are concerned. There is a marked difference between leadership and just badgery. And that doesn't work. I understand that feelings or emotions can run high about these things, but that doesn't work. Now, let me go ahead and address the logical fallacy here. I wouldn't want to tax your brain, but let me address the logical fallacy here in what you just said. Well, the problem here is about all these bees and hoes having all these abortions out here, and we'd have had 20 million more people here. I find that to be a very interesting sentiment because from my perspective, I put this at the feet of the old niggas. What? I put that squarely at their feet. Let us never forget that, by the way, they walked off the damn field just as soon as they were given social integration. Dr. Claude Anderson, for decades now, has said that black people have made no progress whatsoever except socially. So what has radically changed for us is who we can, quote, socialize with. But every other aspect of our lives has remained the same. Well, who the hell was spearheading that? And then you go take a look at every organization and whatnot, and next thing you know, they're like, bring on the white women. That's what I went to school for. That's what I got my law degree for. That's what I got my PhD for. Aye, let me get some of the, they would lynch Jack Johnson. They can't lynch us no more. Let me grip some white butt cheeks, boy. And that's what their agenda became, to the literal exclusion of all other things. And that's how you end up with major sports leagues with a proud grand tradition of 30% of their so-called participants sitting up here making that their sole reason for getting into it. So the neighborhood's hell and his finances are hell and he'll be broke 5 years after he leaves the league, but there's plenty of pictures of him with non-black women. And that's not new. That ain't new. This taking the eye off the ball of what the black agenda is, that ain't new. Never has been. And this unholy obsession with that is what we've been a victim of. Abortion comes later. Chasing white women and social integration, that came first. That came first. To the point that they knew how to break black organizations once they started introducing interracial sexual access. That did that. So no, I am not going to say that the women do not have agency over themselves. They certainly do. But I will also remind you that team reflects leadership. Team reflects leadership. And the old niggas of the civil rights generation, let's just call it for what it is. Just as soon as they opened up the automotive plants and the manufacturing plants and the steel mills and let them niggas have a job that paid more than slave wages, they were done. Now let me address that other aspect of the abortion thing. The other problem here was, by the way, as soon as you gave that nigga half a living wage, he won't have a bunch, not I won't say half of them, but a bunch of them wanted to go off and go make some bastard kids on the other side of town. So you can talk about abortion, but the abortion rate basically only evened out the bastard baby rate. And them niggas was fearless about that. And still are. Fearless. They didn't care about social convention. They didn't care about the fact that their parents or grandparents wasn't making a bunch of bastard kids. They didn't give a damn about that. Man, give me some drink and give me some liquor and give me a hoe over here. I'm going in. And they did that for decades, not years. Decades. Across the damn board. Decades. That became their cultural landmark for decades. Not for the majority of black males, no. But what I will say is that you can't have that occurring when you don't have a culture that condones it. The Nation of Islam is one of the few standouts in that regard, but even then, we didn't stomp against that as much as we should have. Quite frankly, we were too damn soft-handed on that. Soon as you see this nigga over here got a kid by one chick and a kid by another, some folks will come and snatch his ass up and stomp him out. Dude, you bad for the block. You bad for the block. That's what's supposed to happen. Instead, he's running all over town doing what he do with some of the dudes cheering it. Because they're just as broken, bummy, and useless. And others like, well, it ain't my business. And this is not about policing men's sexual behavior. This is about discipline for the community. Because there must be discipline, otherwise you don't have one. And then we talk about the chicks and the females and abortion later. But let's be very clear. She didn't get pregnant by herself. Now that didn't happen. They didn't go to the sperm donor clinic and then go get an abortion. That didn't happen. There's been a steady, consistent supply, even if it is a minority, there's been a steady, consistent supply of no good raggedy niggas. And these are fellas here that even after I'll be damned, they criminalized it. You got fellas sitting in child support court with their damn lips poked out. Man, you made that right. The heifer put me on God. Knowing that it's illegal. Oh yeah, but wait a minute, where did it start? It started with the old niggas back when it wasn't. Them fellas, when you couldn't get put in jail for it and couldn't lose your driver's license and couldn't lose your passport and couldn't lose your business license and couldn't end up getting jailed for it, them niggas was popping out kids all over the damn place. They were doing that for years, decades, with no shame. Never backed off of it. Never. When it was legal, them fellas was like, oh, just let it rip. To the point that, by the way, hello, Jesse Jackson. What? Every time you turn around, your so-called civil rights leaders, and most of them niggas got bastard kids running around out here. By the way, oh, should I not remind people of that? Didn't Kwesi and Fume have one? We can go down the damn list of them old niggas. Every time you turn around, every pastor, pimp-ass preacher, the barbershop owner, the mechanic, the so-called community activist, every time you turn around, that nigga got a wife and some bastard kids out there somewhere. Shameless. And we're gonna and these are the guys who were dealing with the politics directly, sir. The hoes on abortion were not making the public policy. I'm sitting here naming for you niggas who were making the public policy. And we ignored that altogether so we can talk about the black bees at the abortion clinic. Never mind the other folks over here. Never mind who kicked it off. Never mind who started it. Never mind who kept it going for decades there. We'll just bypass that. Never mind who was helping it. And just never mind that. No, if we're going to have a proper perspective on this, well, yeah, the females have certainly been acting in a diabolically bad manner. But I am not going to sit up here and act like, well, you know, I mean, if they just hadn't done X, Y, Z, okay, what about them niggas who are at the plant and most of them sitting up there worrying more about sexual access? How old are you, young man? I'm talking to you, sir. Area code 313. How old are you, sir?
All that you said is irrelevant.
Okay, sir, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this one final time. How old are you, sir?
Like I said before, all that you said is irrelevant to where our numbers are today. Our numbers have so.
Okay, this jackass is going back to the special ed portable building. Folks, if I ask you a question, you're strongly advised you need to answer it. He's off in his little feelings because stupidity and foolery gets checked. And everything I said is a straight fact. Everything I just said is a straight numerical fact. What I was going to say here, though, but by the way, he can go back and he's in his feelings. Most likely he got some bastard kids of his own. And he feeling some kind of way. By the way, Craig R in the chat room needs to call in. He's got 2 minutes to be on the line. Be there or be gone. By the way, Craig, since you have a question to ask the host, you need to be on the phone line so you can go ahead and ask that so everybody can hear your epic wisdom directly from you. By the way, to be clear about that, for those of you who are younger, I've told you about this for years. You go and get your daddy's photo album. Y'all need to go and grab your daddy's photo album. I've been telling you this now for over a decade so you can find out what the damn truth is. You go get your daddy's photo album and tell him you want to see some pictures of him, not when he was a child, but when he was your age. And what you gonna see is the same sad cooning ass parade. He gonna be sitting there with some old ass car with some big ass wheels. And if he's not from the 70s, he's from the 80s stunting. That's what he gonna be showing you. That's what he's gonna be showing you. He gonna be doing that. Here, you can take a look at where I was at. That's what you can do for him. Don't worry about what he's sitting in front of the car. Well, you see, before them hoes all put me on child support, we was balling. Before the hoes put us on child support, we was balling. And he's sitting here showing you that he spent your inheritance. That is the father showing you that he spent your inheritance. And then when you ask what the hell happened, he sits up here and wants to point the finger to the hoes. Now, how the hell did you go from the crib to 40 years old and then drop no bastard kids and that nigga got nothing but a bunch of excuses for you? Every time you turn around pointing to somebody else. To the point that y'all got siblings around town you gotta do a damn DNA test on. There's a bunch of y'all sleeping with your damn half siblings and don't know it. Your mama wasn't blowing out kids on the other side of town, but your daddy sure was getting any raggedy, musty, smelly, crackhead alley cat thing out there pregnant that he could. Yeah, because they didn't lock him up back then. Back then, they didn't lock him up for it. Back then, they didn't take your driver's license. Back then, they didn't take your passport. Back then. And when they were allowed to do it, they went hog damn wild. And you know what left the center stage? Black empowerment. We stopped talking about black empowerment, and next thing you know, it's a whole damn baby boom of bastard kids. Y'all need to be honest with yourselves about what them niggas was doing and what they weren't doing. And I will never be accused of taking it easy on black women when it's foolery. But I'll be damned if I'm going to sit up here and ignore it. I call it straight down the middle. Straight down the middle. You gotta recognize that for what it is. You go find some old nigga who worked at the GM plant or whatever manufacturing plant. You go find some old nigga who was doing that. And it's not gonna be some bastard kids or chasing some interracial sexual access. Is not gonna be very far behind it. They will not be very far apart. Not very far apart at all. Let me get on the telephone lines here. Caller from area code 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, good evening, Big Brother Jason. This is Brother Elijah calling out of Fort Washington now.
All right, Brother Elijah, what's on your mind?
Brother, I have a serious question. When we listen to tonight's broadcast, and then when I play back some of your old broadcasts, he was talking to us about what happened to us in California, and particularly I used to live out there. And we got pretty much wiped out of the state financially. We went from being, I think, probably 40% of the state to at least now we're at least 6% of the state where we're politically irrelevant there. Now with this migrant situation, especially out there in New York, is it safe to say that New York and Chicago, with the migrant situation, is it safe to say now that New York and Chicago are a lost cause for black people and we should just focus our efforts on the South?
Okay, well, the real thing is, beyond just a geographic location, Jewish people don't worry about that kind of thing. Power brokers don't worry about that kind of thing. If you got every single black person with an agenda, we're a national powerhouse no matter where we are. There's the real thing. What you're seeing happening in Chicago and New York and whatnot is the result of the black residents not having a unified agenda. That's the real issue. It's not so much a matter of you being in one geographic location. You're a whole bunch of black folk in one geographic location in Harlem, and where's the agenda?
Yes, sir.
You see the problem. So you can be scattered to the four winds. If you have agenda, you're powerful. You can have all of us in one place. If there's no agenda, we're powerless. So I submit to you that that's what the real issue is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, thank you so much, big brother. All right, be one all day.
All right, Black First Brother here. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 480. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, my name is James. I'm calling from Chicago. How are you?
All right, James from Chicago. What's on your mind?
I have a lot on my mind, but first things first, I just think that the rhetoric that you spewed on this podcast is just very ignorant and, it's just hateful.
Okay, is this the tether? Is this the tether from the north side?
Nah, I'm someone else.
But this is a different tether from a different side. Okay, go ahead.
Well, just let me speak. First things first,
I do agree with you. You sound like the same cat. Where are your people from, dude? Where's that accent from?
My parents are from Nigeria.
All right. Proceed.
The caller three, I think the old caller, he just stated a lot about the women. I mean, I felt like you dismissed him when he was actually very accurate that your culture is broken.
I didn't say that it was. I did not say that it was inaccurate, sir. I didn't say that was inaccurate. I'm saying that. Wait a minute now. Let's put that in its proper context. So I literally never said it was inaccurate. So you're not very smart and you're a liar. But go ahead.
Okay. Either way, what he said was pretty
either
accurate.
way. Okay. Yeah. Either way. All right.
Okay, and the other thing is that I don't think you really know exactly about what's going on. All those migrants, they can't get jobs. They can't work. They
shouldn't be here. They can get jobs where they came from, sir. Why is it our problem that they can't get jobs?
Well, they're here right now. They fled their country because they're facing a dictatorship where there are no jobs.
Okay, sir. The descendants of the black descendants of the slaves in America, we didn't flee. We fought this dictatorship here. We faced the dictatorship too, and we fought it. What's their excuse? Sir, we fought the white supremacist dictatorship here. What's their excuse for not fighting it where they came from, sir? That's not an excuse. What's their excuse?
They didn't. I'm not sure what their excuse is.
Wow. Okay, you don't know what their excuse is. Then you can't defend them. If you don't know why they were cowards and fled, then you can't defend them. What's next?
They fled. They fled because there were no opportunities in their specific country.
They had opportunity to flee. They had the opportunity to flee.
So that's to say, the bottom line is that.
Okay, sir. Well, no. You said they had no opportunities. They took they had the opportunity to flee
for a better life. That's what they did. America is the country to come to for a better life.
Okay, sir. No. Okay, but why is there a better life for Nigerians who come here? Why is that?
Because when we come here, we make a difference, though.
Okay, sir. Why don't you make a sir? Why don't you make a difference? Why is it you haven't made a difference? If you're difference makers, why come you couldn't make a difference in Nigeria?
As I said before, I'm not sure exactly what happened in the past or what was going on.
Sir, you said we make a difference. I said you make no difference. Where's the difference you've made in any part of Nigeria?
Nigerian immigrants make a huge difference in wherever we go. We definitely.
Okay, where's the difference that Nigerian immigrants have made in Nigeria, sir?
I'm not. Hey, we're talking about America and the migrant.
No, sir. We're talking about Nigerians. No, sir. No. Because you started in Nigeria. You're a Nigerian immigrant because you started in Nigeria. Where were any of these attributes that you claim you have in America? Where did you have them in Nigeria? We can't see them.
I was born here in America, so I'm not sure exactly what my parents.
Okay, then sir, then what you have, sir, you have a better opportunity because we didn't run unlike you. So let's talk about the difference in culture and character. Why is it that we, the foundation, stand and make things different and make it better, and you all don't? Let's talk about that for a moment.
That was a different type of black people, a different type of Negro.
Okay, we're still doing it today.
Not today's Negro are uneducated. They're very lazy. They have no culture.
Okay, are they educated and hardworking in Nigeria today?
Yes. The people back in it.
So they're educated and hardworking in Nigeria today. Show us where that is, sir.
I'm not talking about Nigeria. I'm talking about the Nigerians from the past or my parents. They worked hard to give me an opportunity to become college educated, to make a whole lot of money.
And look what you became, a coon.
I'm not a coon. I'm just realistic.
Yeah, you are. You sure are. Sir, there's no evidence whatsoever. We're the only ones who built anything, which is why you and your people fled to us. Nobody in America, sir, nobody in America is fleeing to Nigeria for a better life. So if Nigerians make things better, tell me why nobody's going to Nigeria for a better life among the we make it better people.
I don't understand why you're twisting things around and talking about.
I'm repeating your words,
about
sir. Sir, if illegals or immigrants from Nigeria make things better, then why is it they haven't made it better where they're from? So we can all go over there.
It's not our job to make it better from where we're from.
We made it better. We made it better over here, and we continue to make it better over here because they're kicking Haitians out all over the place. They blocking Nigerians in Britain. They're trying to block them over here too. We're the only ones fighting white supremacy who've ever fought it. You all haven't done it, and you talking about a better life. We gave you that better life, sir. You didn't do anything to get it. We're the ones who made the lane for you. You did nothing.
But the black community is very divisive right now. They're not fighting for anything.
Sir, excuse me. You want to know about a divisive community? Yours is a divisive community to the point of being banal and pointless, sir. Sir, be quiet. The Nigerian community is pointlessly split to the point of being banal and irrelevant. Igbo, Yoruba, Husafalani, Delta. If you all go on Twitter right now, go on Facebook groups right now. I've got Nigerians who are friends on Facebook right now, and they sit here and flame each other based on their tribe all damn day. They talk about the president of Nigeria. They talk about the councils, but they don't talk about them as Nigerian. They talk about them as the tribe that they come from. Those Igbos, the same thing, the same garbage that you try to hear them say about us. They just don't say Akata. They're going at each other all day simply because you're not a member of my tribe. Yeah, we're all Nigerian. Yeah, but he is Igbo. We don't fool with those Igbos. Those Igbos are dirty over there. Well, they are Husafalani. They are dirty over there. The Yoruba are the trash. They sit there and flame each other all day and not. Here's the other thing I want you all to know, and you can go look it up on Facebook right now. Don't believe me? Go to Facebook right now and you will see it all damn day. Hell, you can go to Instagram and go see it. They sit up here and put out memes, flaming each other all day, denigrating each other all day, particularly insulting and impugning the character of the women. What? Particularly attacking the character of the women. These dudes put up memes nonstop, insulting Yoruba women, insulting Igbo women, calling them whores, calling them sluts, calling them no good, calling them trash, calling them monkeys. That not a single black American in sight. We don't go to those places. We don't speak the language. But Jason Black has been watching this go down now for going on 20 years. Your culture, sir. And y'all brought that tribal trash to the internet. It existed now for hundreds of years, which is why you were so easily dominated. We don't practice that garbage over here, which is why we have been the only vanguard that has made any progress. And yo lazy lion tether ass gonna jump on the telephone line that we allowed you to be on, by the way, and gonna tell us that you got something to teach us? Nigga, please. Sit your bonehead ass down somewhere and just soak up the game and tell your parents, you know, we lie asses off, but they don't let us do that over there on them. We don't have a damn thing to learn from you except how to be a track star. Shout out Usain Bolt. We ain't got a damn thing to learn from you except how we can run. No, sir, I meant what I said. We don't have a damn thing to learn from y'all except how to run. They can, if you're not from our lineage, so far as I've been able to tell, the only thing y'all been able to teach us is how to run. By the way, whether it's Usain Bolt running the sprint or whether it's the Africans running the damn marathon, well, we did find one thing you all can teach us, how to run. Because we don't know how to run nowhere near as good as y'all, clearly. Clearly we don't. Clearly you all got the edge on that. So you can teach me how to run, dude. How about that? I'll teach you how to be a man and how to not get your butt cheeks clapped by white supremacists with your delusions of grandeur, and you teach me how to run like a dog. Deal?
I totally disagree. First off, you say Bolt is Jamaican, okay? He's not Nigerian.
I said people not from our lineage. I meant what I said, sir. People not from our lineage.
We are. Pretty much you're black, I'm black. I mean, we are.
You ain't from my you're not from my lineage. What the hell you talking about? You've identified yourself as Nigerian. You're not from my lineage.
No, I am black. I am 100% black.
Okay, you're not the same. You're not the same as us.
Well, the reason why you guys don't get benefits is because other groups don't respect you. They don't feel comfortable.
Sir, how did you get if we don't know how to give benefits? How did you end up being able to come to this country if we don't know how to get benefits?
What do you mean? I mean, basically, back in the 1960s, there was the civil rights. That was the Immigration Reform Act.
Okay, and who was it? And who was it who did that? Because it damn sure wasn't Nigerians or immigrants. So who was it who got that done, sir?
It was a group of Americans, black, white.
Sir, it was not no group of Americans, black, white, or other. It was government policy to keep black people out of America through immigration. See, here's the problem. The problem is you all come from lying, dishonest backgrounds, scamming backgrounds, and then when you open your mouths, everything is lying and scamming and making things up. And this is why you have to come over here to some folks who stand on some principles. You come from backstabbing cultures where you're congenital, degenerate liars all the time. There were no white people backing immigration reform. There were no white people trying to make a lane for Africans to come over here. Every president from actually before Woodrow Wilson, but he was the worst. Everyone forward. Nobody was talking about bringing none of y'all over here until we were talking about civil rights, and we talked about immigration reform because they were allowing the white immigrants over here, which is what they had always done. The white immigrants were always allowed over here. The black ones were always frozen out. They allowed the white Cubans to come over here in the 1960s, since you don't know your basic history or basic math, by the way. They allowed the white Cubans to come over here and told the Haitians, out your ass goes. So they were making distinctions based on race. But I wouldn't expect you to know that, because while the jollof is on the stove burning, I can't expect math and facts to get in your way. The bottom line, they would no, sir. There was no white folk spearheading that. We were the ones saying that because we understood they're bringing over huge numbers of white people for the specific purposes of drowning our black numbers out. So we said, if you're going to play that game, you got to let the black immigrants in too. And we started fighting for their right to be able to do that. And it's not a right, it's a privilege. We're the ones who did that, sir. We did that. There were no white allies, and you sitting on my phone lying your ass off is the reason y'all had to flee. You're divorced from reality, you're divorced from facts, and then when facts and reality and math put it on your ass in Nigeria, you all sat up here and hunked up your butt cheeks and ran across the ocean as fast as you could. And now you're over here with your same failed culture, your same failed philosophies, your same failed behavior, and your same failed ideology. It didn't work for you there. It doesn't work for you here. You can't make up math as you go along. And that's a damn shame. What you need to be is off my damn phone. You need to be over there on Facebook and Twitter getting your people together. Because it's a damn disgrace over there. You want to talk about divided? If it ain't a white man, they don't shut up. Now, if a white man comes among them, they going to be the most united people you ever saw. If a white man shows up, they're going to be the most united people you ever saw in your life. When white folks show up, y'all put your tribalism to the side. When a white person shows up, hey, white daddy in here, white daddy in here, they start dancing, they start singing. The hoes in the internet cafes start trying to choose up. That's what they do. You ain't never seen nothing like that from us. Oh, I'm sorry, we're the ones who built something. Which is why to this day, you can't show me a Nigerian, quote, community in America here that's doing a damn thing to white supremacy. But I can show you a place there where they're divided as hell. Sir, no, that's not. Stop your lying. They're congenital, degenerate liars here. Just everything is scams culture. Just scam culture down the damn block. Sir, they don't own anything. They don't run anything. It doesn't matter where in America you go. They don't own anything. They don't run anything. They ain't pushing no buttons.
There's a black bank we own in Chicago, run by 2 Nigerian men. Nigerian people do something.
Y'all,
we're educated. We're one of the most
if you put your money into that bank, don't come crying to us when it's gone. That's all I got to say. If you put your money in that bank, don't come crying to none of us when you show up one day and a nigga like the one on the phone here, like, well, you'll see what happened here. We put a bunch of it into Bitcoin. But I will be back. I will be back next week. We are closing the bank this week, but we will be back next week. So you got a bunch of Omi and a Hellcat niggas Bunch of Omi and the Hellcat niggas done start the bank. All right. Go ahead.
Again, your rhetoric is why black people are divided right now, though. Because I'm telling you what black people, Nigerian black men have done. And you're pushing rhetoric that bank is not succeeding.
I didn't say the bank is succeeding. I didn't say the bank is not succeeding, sir. I did not say that.
You basically insinuated that if you put money in that black bank, there's going to be issues, that there's going to be trouble.
What does the track record tell us?
Well, as you pointed out, black people are doing something. Unlike most black Americans, where the culture is very broken, it's very matriarchal. Nothing gets done. And
okay, sir, and the Nigerian culture is a model for us.
Well, we're successful. We do things. We are semi-respected.
Sir, semi-respected. Tell me what Nigerians are getting done that we have not done 10 times better.
We're pretty much one of the most successful immigrant groups in this country.
Okay, sir, that's a slogan. Tell me what Nigerians are doing that we have not already done 10 times better. Second try.
We're definitely. What do you mean? All I know is that we are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, y'all. See, what they do is they sit up here and the white supremacist media gives them these slogans and they say this crap. I just showed y'all how to shut it down with one sentence. Notice I've asked the same question twice now. They throw these slogans out there, and as soon as you say, "Oh, good, give me the detail," all of a sudden they start stammering and stuttering. It's really that easy to shut it down. Buddy, if you had something to name, you'd be doing it, but you can't. And you know why? Because if you all were really that successful and productive, Nigeria wouldn't have the Chinese and the Russians all over it capitalizing on it. You'd be over there being successful there too.
And there are successful Nigerians out there.
No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they aren't. No, they aren't. No, sir. No, they're not.
This is a fact.
No, they're not.
You're wrong. The richest black man in America lives in Nigeria. I mean, the richest black man in the world lives in Nigeria.
Okay, first of all, when you're dealing with scammer cultures, I would advise you all that can you really believe the numbers coming from folks from that culture? When I'm the richest one in the world. They're also the Prince of Zamunda, Wakanda, and Ethiopia. So that's my first response to saying that. I would love to audit those. I would love to audit, sir. I would love to audit those books. Who's audited those books to confirm that those numbers are accurate, sir?
Google with your friend.
Sir, second try, sir. Who audited those books to confirm that Adoge is as rich as he says it is? Who audited the books to confirm it's true?
I'm not sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So in other words, we got his word for it, and probably a bunch of other scammers too. But no proof whatsoever. I want y'all to understand. I'm not the guy who sits up here and lets folks sit up here and scam y'all and fool you and bamboozle you. I'm asking basic questions that any CPA would ask when somebody tells you, here's how much wealth I got and here's what I got. Oh, good. Who confirmed that number? I don't know. Had you all ever thought to ask yourselves that scam culture in Nigeria extends to even their claims of who's got money and who doesn't? Has anybody ever thought to ask that before Jason Black came along? Answer, no. No, nobody ever thought to question. By the way, who confirmed those numbers? Because all we got is his word for it. How do we know he's not lying? Who confirmed that he's not lying?
I'm not lying.
No, I'm talking about the folks you claim are billionaires over there. Who checked their books to confirm that they are not lying about how much they have?
Why would they lie about being a billionaire?
Because so another tether can get on the phone line somewhere else and go lie about stuff that Nigeria is not actually doing.
No, I don't. Either way, you're
stutter.
This isn't about Nigerian immigrants.
Yeah, it is.
The vast majority of those immigrants are South American.
Sir, yes it is. Yes it is, because you had the nerve to slap your G-string thong on and get on my phone lines and tell me about us being divided as if we got the only ones who've ever accomplished anything is us, and you acting like you got the nerve to sit up here and go like we got a damn thing to learn from you.
Black people from the past. Today's black people for the past 30 years have done nothing. You basically destroyed everything what black people are about.
Okay, sir. So if we've destroyed everything in the last 30 years, then tell me why Atlanta is booming and popping like it is today, sir.
Atlanta's not booming and popping. I mean, basically, white people are taking over
Atlanta
right
Atlanta is consistently in the top 5 of every single significantly growing major city in America survey that you can name. You lying tethers are just despicable.
And it's because white people are moving back into the major city right now. It used to be, a black Mecca. It's not a black Mecca anymore.
Sir, white folk are trying to get Buckhead taken back out of Atlanta. You don't even know that basic thing. White folk are not trying to get into Atlanta. They're trying to divide it. If you knew that, what you just said refuted that, dummy. You just said white folk are the cause of that, and you just conceded that the white folk are trying to get out of Atlanta. You can't have. I know tethers want to. They lie, they scam, they want to have it both ways.
I'm trying to come back to this. They're trying to come back inside the perimeter.
Okay, you know what? You know what? That's a very good point that you make. Actually, that's a very good point that you make. Why is it that all these white folk want to come to a city with folk from my lineage? Then, if the city's failing, sir.
Because again, you're destroying the city. They want to make it better.
But sir, if we're destroying the city, why don't they just go out to Marietta and go build that up? If we're destroying Atlanta, why don't they do what they've always done, sir? If Atlanta's going to hell, why are they trying to get back into a place that's going to hell? That's not how white flight works, sir.
No. The same thing is happening in Detroit too. A lot of
no, sir, you're a liar. In Detroit, they're gentrifying the city and running the black folk out of it. Black folk are coming into Atlanta, the dominant population in Atlanta, and you just said, and the white folk want to get where we are.
Yeah, that's the word I was for. They're gentrifying Atlanta as well.
Well, sir, gentrification. Gentrification is an issue everywhere, but they're not gentrifying Atlanta because it's failing. They're gentrifying it because it's got the busiest airport in America, one of the busiest freeways in America, and the busiest economy in America. That's the reason, and that's under our stewardship and leadership of the last 45 years. No immigrants required. Where's the Niger? There's a million Nigerian immigrants in America today. Where's the Nigerian Atlanta? Go. Second try, sir. There are a million Nigerians in America today. Where is the Nigerian Atlanta? Second try. Go.
They're scattered. There's not like a specific large community, but there are definitely Nigerians living in Atlanta.
I didn't ask you about Atlanta, sir. Show me where the Nigerian example of Atlanta is. I'm showing you ours, so show me where the Nigerians got in Atlanta popping. Go.
I'm pretty sure that there's one outside of Houston.
He's pretty sure. I think it is. You lying ass. And just understand something. When your situation is so pathetic that you have to tell such a blatant lie, that's your cue that you're supposed to just shut up at that point. When you have to tell such a pathetic lie like that, that tells you. And by the way, talking about Houston, Texas, who has been the dominant ethnic and racial faction in Houston, Texas for the last 45 years, sir?
Latinos and black. Houston is a very, very
dude. If you don't shut your ass up,
but not as segregated.
Name for me 3 prominent Latinos from Houston. Go.
Prominent Latinos? Jason, come on.
Stutter. Second try. Name for me 3 prominent Latinos from Houston. Go.
I'm not familiar with Latinos in general.
But you just sat here and tried to speak for them. But you just sat here and tried to speak for them.
I'm not speaking for them. I'm just
saying you just tried to sit here and tell us how how significant Latinos are in Houston.
For a better opportunity.
You just tried to sit here. No, sir. You just tried to sit here and characterize how significant the Latino population is in Houston. And as soon as I asked you, great, name for me some significant Latinos from Houston, you can't name a damn one. Just like you're at your Nigerian Wakanda. You can't tell us where that is either. This is what happens when you're a serial liar, kid. Not a single fact anywhere. You're the one who said that there is one. I told you to name it. And as soon as I said that, he can't do it. Just like you can't tell us where the so-called Nigerian billionaires' money is. Sir, you were asked to name for me the significant Latinos from Houston because we can name Beyonce. We can name the Ghetto Boys. We can go down the damn list with Houston.
You're just talking about entertainment, though. That's what.
Sir, okay, it just, sir, show me the significant, show me the significant, sir, show me the significant Nigerian, show me the significant Nigerian in any field from Houston. Go.
Oh, I definitely guarantee you that there are way more Nigerian lawyers than regular Black American lawyers.
Second try. Name for us, since entertainers are not significant, name for us the significant Nigerians in Houston. Go.
Significant. Let's see. In Houston?
Nigga, if you don't stop trying to lie, he's sitting over there trying to Google right now. He's desperately trying to Google and still coming up snake eyes. By the way, I hear him over there. He's trying to type on Google as we speak, and he still can't find nothing. Google just sat here and gave you a 404, that page cannot be displayed error. That shows you we ain't got a damn thing to learn from you. So, no, we're not listening to any of your suggestions.
We ain't got to go to the Westwood area.
Sir, name the name. Name the name. Name the name. Name the person. Name the person. He's sitting over there Googling. Y'all understand just how majestic we are. We are so majestic that this is not Jason Black against a tether caller. This is Jason Black against Google. Google told you with the amassed knowledge of mankind at his fingertips, buddy, you wrong as hell, Jason right. Google is sitting there telling you I'm right. That there are no search results for what you desperately just tried to look up. I'm not making an ass of you. Google is right now. Get your ass off my phone. Unapologetic. Oh, let me go ahead and hit the damn tune for him here real quick. Unapologetic, unadulterated, uncompromising, and still undefeated.
I told you all that I was the greatest of all time. I told you today I'm still the greatest of all time.
Jason, why you keep it on that long? Because I need you all to understand. I need y'all to understand when folk come to you with bogus talking points. His talking points were bogus. The Nigerian billionaires. I've been waiting for the longest time for somebody to sit up here and try that Nigerian billionaire thing so I could tell y'all, by the way, do you want to know how to shut that one down? I got CPAs and accountants. Would you like me to tell you how to shut that lie down? You don't have anybody to vouch for the validity of those men's claims about how much money they say they got. Except the local government. Oh yeah, there's a reliable source. There's a reliable source. You are divisive. You mean like the Nigerian Facebook groups? You mean like that? What are you building? Take a look at all the Black-run cities that everybody is flooding to. Housing prices out of control in Atlanta, out of control in DC, out of control in Chicago, out of control in Detroit, out of control in Houston. Call it whatever the hell you want to. Housing prices are out of damn control in those places. You know why? Because everybody trying to get in. Everybody trying to get in. The white folk leaving where they at and coming where we are because it's popping. When we show up, it's popping. The news tell you, oh, it's bad, this, that, and the other. Well, if it's bad and this, that, and the other, why the hell they building Lincoln Yards in Chicago? If it's really that bad, why are they building Lincoln Yards in Chicago? There's plenty of suburbs they can build up. These people are masters of building up suburbs and Levitt towns. They coming where we are because the city ain't gonna sink, baby. The city ain't gonna sink. You sitting up here waiting for the Nigerians to get that Nigerian Atlanta kicking off. Man, look here. Let me tell y'all something. If you waiting on it, it ain't gonna happen. You know why? Because the second that something gets popping, they gonna get up and run. They're not looking to build anything. They just go find where somebody else has built something and then they become squatters. They're not builders. They're squatters. Sitting next to builders trying to tell us how them squatting is the same as us building. So I just took that as an opportunity here to shut that down forever. You just got a master class on how to shut that all down, right down to the DNA. You should never lose another argument again. Just repeat the words I gave you. Just repeat the words I gave you. I just showed you how to shut it down till the end of time. Just repeat what I said. When they try to make up a bogus stat, just demand the paperwork. Tell me the specifics. Name the specific name. He wasn't ready for that. He's used to a place where niggas sit around scamming each other all damn day. That's why nothing gets built. Because 2 + 2 must equal 4. You trying to scam everybody else? No. No, you Igbo nigga. 2 + 2 actually equal 3. And he trying to convince you, no, you Yoruba bastard. 2 + 2 equal 5. Trying to scam each other all damn day. Nobody gets to 2 + 2 equals 4. No wonder you're not a competent, effective force. That is the problem. These niggas from America keep demanding integrity and math, and you keep doing that. Don't you understand? Get it how you live. Sir, but we can't keep the city running doing it like you. That is the problem. You don't have enough imagination. You don't have enough imagination. Nigga, I'm not trying to imagine no damn sloppy Joe sandwiches. Everybody ain't trying to do that. Because there's the real damn issue. As soon as y'all send everything down in flames, you gonna pack your butt cheeks up and go run to some other place to go hide out. We in Atlanta, we standing 10 toes down. We in Shreveport, we standing 10 toes down. We in Houston, we standing 10 toes down. South Central LA, 10 toes down. DC, 10 toes down. Even Baltimore, 10 toes down. Y'all ain't 10 toes down, y'all 2 feet up. These niggas run so hard, they like Bugs Bunny and the Wile E. Coyote in the cartoons, they run on air. Here, you'll be quiet. Let me tell you how to be unified and effective. Follow my example. But dude, I ain't got enough track shoes to follow your example. Hell, nigga, I'm getting older now. I don't know if I can sprint fast enough to follow your example. I don't know if I can do that. Just listen to us. Where's your track record of success? Take a look into my bag. Look into my bag. You can learn from me. Caller Mary Code 678, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello.
Pick up your phone, sir. Don't stop. Just stop rubbing yourself down with oil. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Bryce. I'm from Bronx, New York.
Okay, Bright from the Bronx. What's on your mind?
Earlier, you mentioned the term Manchurian candidate, and I've heard that phrase before, but I just want to know, like, what do you mean by it? Like, what's your definition of Manchurian candidate?
Okay. Before I get to that, how old are you, son?
25.
Okay. How long have you been waiting on hold right now?
About an hour.
Okay. So you mean to tell me that in the last hour, and you were listening to me before you even called in. So you were listening before you even called in, and that took time. And then you've been waiting on hold for an hour, and that's taken an hour. And you mean to tell me that in the last hour plus time that you've been on the phone line, you didn't think to go to Google and type in Manchurian candidate? I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah,
I'm just help me to understand. So you've been on hold for an hour, and you didn't go to Google and just type in Manchurian candidate?
And I did, and I have. And a lot of things come up, And I was just wondering how deep of your interpretation of the word is.
Okay. The depth of my interpretation of that phrase, not the word, that phrase or that term, Manchurian candidate, is in the results that you see. You have a candidate who is serving somebody else's agenda. That person sent them to you for the purposes of fooling you into thinking that they're going to serve your agenda, when in reality they are a double agent controlled by somebody else. And the end result is the candidate that you brought in because you were, as a Trojan horse, you were fooled into thinking they were going to follow your agenda. And once they got in the position of power, they executed the agenda of the folk who sent them. Now, I hope we're not going to get off into literally the Manchurian candidate of some sort of mind control or something, because it's not necessarily mind control of chemicals or radio waves or something. No, it's systemic societal control. It is that. They choose individuals who have already been corrupted and co-opted, and then they groom them to smuggle themselves in amongst us. But I would have thought that was pretty self-explanatory, though.
It is, but the part about the mind control, I'm just curious. But thank you. I'll land my plane there.
Okay, well, sir, what I'm saying is there's social control where you have individuals. Let me try this again. You have individuals who've already been co-opted. They're already part and parcel of the mindset of these people. They're selecting individuals who are already gullible and corrupted and are on the team with them philosophically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's hard to.
Not at all, and it's crystal clear in a city like New York. I don't know how anyone does not see what's going on. But yeah.
Well, I think people do see what's going on. The real issue is that folks tend to get complacent and make the assumption that, well, maybe this time will be different. And people try to sit up here and be soft-handed about it as opposed to saying, hey, we need to say that we black and we need to discuss and promote a black agenda. And folks want to be coy about it. And as soon as it's time to say black, everybody else says they're Jewish, Asian, whatever else, LGBT. As soon as you come to black folk, all of a sudden we want to be everything other than that because, we need to dull down our blackness so that everybody else around us is more comfortable so that they will support us. And what I'm saying is that's not the way that works. You don't turn your blackness down. If they cannot support you saying that you're black, the only time we made progress in the last 5 years is the George Floyd protests when we were in the streets talking about we black. Yeah, that's what works. When you sit up here and run from blackness, everybody else runs from you. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Not Google's your friend, y'all. Caller from area code 773. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace and Black Power. My name is Switchblade from Chicago.
Okay, Switchblade from Chicago. What's on your mind?
Hey, Jason. How you doing, brother? I noticed tonight you was showing Chicago's meeting. I was there. I was present at that meeting. And, yes, our brothers and sisters that was in the audience, I was sitting 2 rows behind the politicians. We were cutting up because the presentation itself, the energy itself, it was just plastic. You saw all these politicians pretending to care. Mayor BJ, we call him. He was praising every minority, the Arabs, the Indians, and they were giving praise to everyone and not black people.
Well, so, look, here's the thing I want you to understand about that. Remember with the Democratic WikiLeaks thing, remember what they said. Remember what they said after Trayvon Martin. The program is still in effect. That's the strategy that's always been. So when you see mayors like Brandon Johnson or state senators or state reps or whatever, notice they're following the same game plan. When black folk walk up to them, now everybody else gets a straight answer. But these rules are racist because they're reserved only for us. If you are confronted by any black activists, real activists, constituents or whatever, do not make any specific promises. No matter what they confront you on, what they pin you down on, Do not say that you're going to do anything specifically for them. And I submit to you all that that is proof positive that the Democratic Party is like the Republicans. They are a hate group masquerading as a political party, and they specifically targeted us. There is no memorandum that says if Asians talk to you, don't make any specific promises. If Jews talk to you, don't make any specific promises. There's only an anti-black rule. Just one. And Brandon Johnson is your confirmation that he's been told the same thing. Don't make them any specific promises. They get up, they yell, they scream, they impugn, they insult you, whatever. Do not say you're going to do something specifically for them, because we'll get your ass out of here. We sent you there to placate them, install them, not to give them anything. Don't get up there and say you're going to do something, because at best, you'll have to be a liar when you show that you can't do nothing. And at worst, your rabbit ass might get up and try to do something for them, in which case we're going to have to deal with you.
That's correct. And what I did was just try to return the same energy while I was there. You know, they're all into symbolism when it comes to the Democratic Party giving us black folks something and remembrance. So I brought 2 black Barbie dolls, a male and female, and I had a headdress of a KKK on their head. And I was like, well, this is how the Democrats are. This is how you look to us. So here's my symbol to you, since the only thing you want to do is give us symbolism. So here's our symbol to you. You look like a black Klansman. So I will leave on that note. Thank you, Jason, for letting me on. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. Keep up the good work, brother, and be one.
Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. Let me get a caller from area code 470. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
B1, this is James C. calling from Atlanta.
All right, James from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
And okay, now given the call that you had back talking about Nigeria, Atlanta, that was silly. And speaking on that, I was wondering, I needed some information about going about making reparations, us Foundation of Black Americans receiving reparations and putting them on the ballot, because these task forces are just a waste of time. So I would want to know, how would I go about getting these signatures to put that on the ballot for this election?
Okay, well, you have to check the laws for your state, generally is how that works. Or if you're going to try to go through the city, so you have to check and see if you are in a place that allows petitioning to put things on the ballot. Because if you're in a place like Louisiana, for example, it doesn't really work that way here. But if you're in a place that does allow, find out if you're in a place that allows it, first of all, and then you find out what the requirements are.
Okay. Will do.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Like I said, that's what California allows, proposition ballots and things like that. Georgia, I'm not 100% certain about, but yeah, you got to make sure you're in a place that actually even allows it. If they do, check what the regulations are, check what the requirements are. Recall elections are one thing, but we're talking about putting stuff on the ballot, just by popular vote or whatever. You got to check and see if you're in a place that allows that. But if they are, go for it. Caller from area code 267. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, yes, this is Tammy calling from Williamsport, PA. How you doing? Great broadcast. I wanted to apologize on behalf of that fool who called, who said he was Nigerian. First of all, everything you said is quite right about Nigerian. We have a very backstabbing culture. My parents was not only wanted to leave Nigeria, but they had inner conflicts with their own family members. There are family members that will kill each other for money, inheritance. If they're jealous of you, they do witchcraft. They big on that. They big on poisoning people. They smile in your face, but like if you do better than them, they not only do they spite you, but they come after you, not physically, because they're very sneaky when they come and attack you. It's not like when over here in America people are blunt and they tell you in your face that they hate you, but they're the type of person who will undermine you, and they are big on doing voodoo and witchcraft, and they use voodoo and witchcraft to kill people. I have family members back over there. I'm not going to say names, but one of my uncles almost died. Somebody poisoned his food. So they try to, one of my mom's pastor was murdered by his own wife. His own wife poisoned him for money. Okay, and this is something that goes on. So it's not even like tribal warfare. It's like, particularly with the Yorubas in Nigeria, they are very prideful, very hateful, very jealous, very undermined, two-faced people. And even my parents don't even like a lot of people in their family. Now, when Nigerians go to other parts of Africa, other African nations don't even like us because they know we're on some bullshit, and they know that we come with like a dark energy, and we bring a lot of the bad things with us as well, like scamming. That's something that you mentioned. One of my uncles, my father's side, his brother did fraud on his other brothers, stole about like $20,000 on his name. The other brother was furious, came to his house and beat up his wife. Like, this is things that happen. So that guy's full of nonsense. What he's trying to say is we are the most educated people in America, but we actually either, number one, educated fools or educated slaves or educated indoctrinated people. We don't really own anything. And yes, we do have a lot of people in different fields. That's great and everything, but we work under white people, just like the Chinese and the Indians in the IT field work under white people. We don't actually have real power, okay? And so I think the guy, like, Nigerians are very prideful, so I think with his pride, it was hard for him to admit, you know what, we do have a lot of issues here. Every nation has their problems. I feel like it's like they try to, instead of like admitting that our culture has issue, I feel they use Black American as how can I say it? They use you as a punching bag, and yes, some Africans come here and have some bad experience, but I would tell you what, I would rather deal with the experience over here than go to a nation where people will smile in your face and try to kill you. Like, if my parents told their story, it's disgusting, like how poorly they were treated by their step-parents. They literally used kids as slaves. My mom's stepmother literally used her as slaves, and her stepmother did witchcraft, I guess, to control her father's mind. Her father was a womanizer. He had several bastard children, beat all his wives. Her uncle was a polygamist, had about 10 wives, and when he died, they all fought each other for the inheritance, and even like attempt to kill each other after they did kill each other. So it was a lot of craziness. And so I'm not saying all Nigerians are bad, but at the same time, Nigerians need to understand not all Black Americans are bad. If they had a particular bad experience, that was that one-off experience. And you need to understand, when they bring a lot of these foreigners over here, they intentionally dump them in like project areas or places where it's not really sophisticated. They're not in the middle class Black America. So my brother married another Nigerian from a different tribe, but they are down south, and they love Black Americans because of the area that they in and their experience. So it's also depending on experience. And, I often get in a lot of dispute with my parents, demanding that they need to respect Black Americans in their space because they don't know your guys' history, and literally they don't understand that you guys built something in a foreign, you guys was sold here, and you built this nation. We did not accomplish that. Even when I do throw in like facts, they basically dismiss it because it's like a pride. Like, Nigerians are very prideful. That's something, and even in the Bible, it speaks about pride. And so, yes, I apologize. That guy don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for your candor in this regard, because here's the issue. This is not about denigrating Nigeria or Nigerians. It's not what this is about, period. I do not denigrate Nigerians or Nigeria. I don't denigrate Sudanese. I don't denigrate Chad. I don't denigrate Niger. I don't denigrate Rwanda. I don't denigrate Ethiopia. I don't denigrate Zimbabwe. I understand what's going on in those places. But if you're going to help Nigeria, then you cannot start off from a perspective of fantasy and make-believe of a Nigeria that doesn't exist and a Nigerian people who are not there. You can't do that. This idea that Nigerian culture, there's no problems, no flaws, everything is just hunky-dory. You coming over here to us, the only people who've made any significant headway anywhere. And don't tell me about no white folks run the government. Nobody runs a more brutal government than America has. And we flipped that as a minority. As less than 14% of the population, we flipped that. And we take a look at Negroes in Nigeria, you 90 and 95% of the population and under somebody's boot. And you gonna tell us about what we need to do better as if there's something we're gonna learn from you. That's an insult. Dr. John Henry Clark, I only debate my equals, all others I teach. Sit your rabbit ass down and learn something. I've got nothing to learn from you. On account of the fact that you don't have a white supremacist government, but you do have a white supremacist colonial mindset that does not require a white government. The white government exists between your ears. And he's ruling you harder than they ever did anything with us. They got to be standing outside of our house to rule us. In Nigeria, the white supremacists in their heads. And until they accept that that is the issue right there, then nothing else gets fixed. It is a disgrace that I can sit here in America and tell you about the tribes in Nigeria. It's a disgrace that I can sit here and point to those things on Facebook and everything else. It's a damn disgrace. It's a disgrace that they're not focused on business building. They focus on hustling and scamming. And scamming is not hustling, by the way. It's a disgrace for that. So just understand something. When you're so far corrupted to a certain point, the only thing we can do is have corrective action. That's the only thing we can do. You got to get straightened out. You got to get straightened out before you can be of any benefit to anybody. We can't sit up here and ignore that. We got to get you straightened out before you can be any benefit to anyone. That's what we talking about. Once again, to reference the immortal ancestor, Dr. John Henry Clark, when he talked about Nubia and Egypt and, whether and there were sometimes some tribal situations and whatnot, he was like, that wasn't what that was. That was them coming in and saying, you need to get your house in order. That is the purpose here. You got to get your block together. How the hell you gonna come up here and wag your finger and tell us something? You got to get your block right. You got to get yours together. You got to get yourself in order. You're not here to teach me nothing. I'm here to teach you, but I'm putting this to you plain and blunt and let you know, hey, bruh, you ain't gonna hustle me. And you're not gonna scam me into saying that's not what the situation is. This is what it is. Save that bull jive ass scam talk for them bogus ass emails y'all send around. Don't come to me with that. Because our survival isn't based on your fantasy in your head. Our survival is based on the results we get. And we can't get results scamming and fantasizing. I want to deal with folk who got the real damn thing. I'm trying to do that all day. I'm trying to do that. And the real reason that Nigeria is in the situation that it's in is because of cultural disorganization, social disorganization, ethnic disorganization, and racial disorganization. The economic disorganization is a side effect and an end result of all those other things. And the real reason is you coming over here talking trash at us because that's what the hell y'all was doing over there. We talking about black power over here. We over here talk about black power. There is no black power movement in Nigeria or Rwanda or Ethiopia or Zimbabwe. And then they'll sit on the damn phone and brag to us about that. We do not see color in that way. Yeah, that's why white folks put a damn saddle on your back and ride you around like a donkey. That's why you're sitting up here sniping at each other. Powerless people going after other powerless people. But the white folk living high on the hog. Because you talking that garbage you just said as if that's a compliment, and it's damnation. It's not just an insult, that's a damning statement to make. That's the problem. And the problem is replicated damn near everywhere else. I can tell you exactly any place in Africa that's sloughing that off of itself, they go in and go kill somebody. I will tell you the places in Africa or the black world around the planet, the only place you know when somebody's making some good progress because their ass ends up dead. And yes, I'm also going to include Moises down there in Haiti. Although that's probably not the case. They got to his wife. But I'm just saying, keep your eyes and ears open. When you got somebody who's doing something and all of a sudden, no, he got to get dead. If he's making real changes to help the people, he say, hey, I'm making some changes. You'll know it's helping the black folks. Okay, this nigga gotta die. He gotta go. And that's the way it always is. Nigeria will not be able to fix these problems until Nigeria faces these problems and admits it and calls it for what it really is. They sit up here with their magazines and every damn thing else, and we can't get it together. And here's the crazy part about it, Timmy. They're not even in service to Nigerians. That's the crazy part.
Right.
They're not even in service to Nigerians. Right now, Nigeria is trying to figure everything from Nollywood on. Nigeria is trying to figure out how to make enterprises and open up their economy to the whites. That's the only thing they're trying to do. If they put together a media company, if they put together a record company, they already told you, I don't see black. We don't worry about color like that. The only thing they're trying to build enterprises for is so they can hand it off to some white folk. That's it.
That's crazy you say that. But you know what? I want to make a point that you just said right now because my sister-in-law works for a solar energy company, and it's based in Nigeria, but you see international people running it. So that's crazy you actually mentioned that.
It's the same thing everywhere. The results would be radically different if that's what you saw. Black folk in America went in service to black people for the most part. But we're a minority and we're up against a white supremacist government. Take a look at what we did in Atlanta, busiest airport in America. Take a look at the expansion going on at O'Hare in Chicago. You take a look at that. Yeah. Black folk in Chicago need more housing, not less. Black people in Chicago need more housing, not less. That tells you what we're doing there. Black folk in D.C. need more housing, not less. We need more. That tells you we're growing. That tells you we're prosperous. That tells you things are coming together, even with the constant meddling and harassment of white supremacy around us. We are still the place that everybody is scrambling to get to, including white folk. They're trying to get where we are to where we run it. The whole thing is they play that Jedi mind trick. What you really need is us to stand in and show y'all how to run your city. No, we don't need you to do a damn thing except get the hell out of our way. And every time you turn around, you find out that, oh, by the way, these folks here, the white supremacists in these cities, are not just sitting back and being docile. They're working behind the scenes to undermine us. Take a look at Houston, Turkey Leg Hut. Turkey Leg Hut is just one example among many in Houston. You have a successful black business that's made itself into a prosperous black enterprise that black man made. Yes, it was the fella. And next thing you know, all the white folks got together and ganged up on him. They got together and ganged up on him. He's doing all the stuff he's supposed to do. They ganged up on him. If those had been Nigerians, they wouldn't have said nothing to him. If the Turkey Leg Hut was run by Nigerians, they wouldn't have said nothing to him. But then again, the Nigerians would not have been making it clear, oh, we're here to overturn that racial status quo. You had some black folk who were like, hey, I'm building this for black folk here. Yeah, go shut that nigga down. Yeah, go shut him down. Let's get that out of here. Same thing in Atlanta. Same thing in New York. Same thing in Los Angeles. Shout out Nipsey Hussle. When we get together and start building something there, and yes, I know about Nipsey's background, but let's just keep it real. Who put the game in him? By the way, before you even start that one, He had to go to a place where black folk have historically set the model for what we do. He learned from us. He learned from us. He saw the example. He saw the game. He soaked it up. And results ensue. Show me the Eritrean power base out there. If I'm lying, show me the Eritrean power base. I'll wait. If there's an Eritrean power base out there, show me where it is. I'll wait. Start naming me the names. Don't tell me no damn sob stories. Name the names. If he got the game from them, name the names. Name the names who are known and recognized in that city. Name them names if you can. Spoiler alert, ain't no names coming. So just recognize what that is. We build things. We make things happen. We had things popping in New Orleans. They flooded the damn city. But then again, that shouldn't surprise you. Whenever we start making things move, your city's going to get blown up, decimated, destroyed. Here that goes. Nigeria, there's been some natural issues going on there, but nothing to the magnitude of some of the stuff I can name over here. No, it's just disorganized. It's disorganized as hell. And by the way, last thing I want to throw in here, Nigeria, let's be very, very clear. In Britain, I'm about to go there. By the way, in Britain, what's the majority of the black folk in Britain come from the Caribbean and Nigeria. And what's the first thing them Nigerian males do as soon as they get off the boat? As soon as they get off the boat, the raft, wherever he got over there. That nigga is on Twitter. He's on Tinder. I like the blonde blue eye. I like the Jessica Simpson. I like the Jessica Simpson. I like the Selena Gomez. I like that kind. I like the Taylor Swift. I like a Taylor Swift girl. First damn thing they do, fresh off the boat. Black men raised from the soil here in America, we ain't showing up nowhere talking about, where the white women at? It ain't none of us. There's the reason that we can't collaborate with niggas from Nigeria. Did he say niggas from Nigeria? I damn sure did.
And deal with it, nigga.
That's the reason we can't collaborate with them, Timmy. Because we ain't got no white women to give them.
Right.
They don't want to collaborate with pro-black males because we ain't got no white women to offer. That's why we can't get no cooperation. And them dudes like, okay, where the white women at? I don't have no white women to give you. This nigga here, he bring no white women. This the problem. You backwards. You are backwards. You bring no white women. How can I get GE with this? How can we cooperate? You bring no white. I don't see the reward. What is the benefit for me? You bring all these dark butts. By the way, who was it who was talking about dark butts? By the way, who brought up dark butts as a negative or a pejorative? I didn't say from Africa, but y'all can go look that up, by the way. Who brought up, the folk in the chat room, they'll show you in a minute, Timmy, but by the way, they all know who brought up dark butts as a negative and as a pejorative. We said the black of the berry. They sat up here and opened up the immigration. The next thing you got folks on dark butts. I don't like them dark butts. Even talking about his own damn family. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, I do want to, one thing is, I've been reading a lot and looking at a lot of Black American leaders, and you guys have done not only greatness in America, but all over the world. There was a particular man, back in the Obama era, where they were trying to push the LBG real badly in different parts of Africa. There was a man who was from America, Black American man, who actually went to different countries, educating certain African nations about what they were trying to do, because he saw what they did to the Black community. The guy named is Irritated Genie, and I want to give a shout to him because the reason why you see Uganda and other places standing up to a lot of this Western nation, it's because of him. And they don't even bring him up, and that actually makes me mad because if it wasn't for this man, Irritated Genie, places like Uganda and Ghana and Tanzania wouldn't have stood up against this backward agenda. And another thing about the guy who called in and made the comments about the black woman being hoes or whatever he called them bees, I try to warn my parents about the civil rights generation. And you see a lot of Africans in that age group who like to follow, the civil rights generation, which I have no problem, but I think they don't understand that there was a lot of like they like symbolism as well. And I try to educate them about that particular thing. How would you even come about that? Because that's a whole, when you do a lot of study, you see a lot of people that did a lot of treasonous thing within that particular movement.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get called from area code 832. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yo, Jay out of Houston, Texas. How you doing, Jason?
All right, Jay out of Houston. What's on your mind?
So I actually think it's brilliant that you brought this up, this whole immigration issue, because now I want to tackle some of what the other callers was talking about. They talk about how they come to America and they see that black people are I want to say the lower class or they're not progressing, but if you look over there in London, you talked about this earlier that, and over there in England, there's not a lot of black Americans, and yet when they talk about the black people over there in over in England, they talk about them like a second-class citizen because a lot of crime is happening over there, but they want to blame us for so much over here. But if you look over there, all that crime is happening, and we're not over there. You know what I'm saying? So I think that argument is kind of defaulted because if you look at all these other countries, we're not over there, but yet the same thing is happening when they want to compare black people to crime rate and all that. We're just over here in America, so they can blame us for the crime rate. But if you apply that to other areas, other countries such as England, you can see that okay, they're just using that as an argument, but the argument is in my opinion, default because you cannot just I kind of misstepped over there, but you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 347. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Last try, caller from area code 347. You're on live. Caller from area code 347 has been abducted. Caller from area code 424. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Jay, this Carl from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
All right, Carl from Fort Lauderdale. What's on your mind?
I'm just glad that you put on a display to show us how to talk those guys out the box, get them out the box and out the square when they go to talking crazy like that. Because just like you said, it's kind of very disrespectful for them to have that type of outlook on black Americans. And it's as if when they take their, I guess they got to take an exam or something to enter the country. It's they're not educating them on the things that black people have done that allowed them in this space. And I'm just glad that you got them out the box with that foolishness. And it was also disrespectful for him to say, oh, black people don't fight for anything. That's why you guys don't have. We still talking about a mule in 2024. So what do you mean we're not fighting? We're still talking about things that are owed to us as far as 40 acres and a mule in 2024.
Well, here's the thing, brother, though.
For, but I'm just saying.
I want you to understand where the problem comes in that regard there is because our issue is this is what they were doing over there. They were doing this over there. Over there, they undermine each other over there as a normal part of the culture. That's the whole thing I always brought up with these folks here, coming from the Caribbean, not just the darkest parts of the Caribbean, even when they get lighter. Shout out Puerto Rico. Shout out Dominican Republic. You got these places where it's a normal feature of the culture to stab each other in the back. No wonder you can't get elevated and can't get lifted up, because it's a normal part of the culture that is just accepted. Hey, stab them in the back. And we have always understood it that we're going to stand or fall together. We've always understood that. And that's why that's important for us to keep that in mind. That's why that's important for us to keep that in mind. That's important. We made that part of our culture because you have to be united to be able to do that. And when you come from a culture and a place where everybody on the same damn thing, that it's a free fire zone on each other, that getting over on each other isn't something to be ashamed of. Getting over on each other is a badge of honor. No, not just a way of life. A badge of honor. Hey, look at how I get over on them niggas over there. I mean, let's just call it for what it is. It's a badge of honor in those places. And then when they come over here, you see it replicated. It's a badge of honor when they get here. It's a badge of honor to get over on them, to undermine them, to backstab them, to sell them out. That's become a badge of honor. And then they look at us crazy because we're like, hey, we don't move that way. We don't move that way. That's where a lot of that comes from. Is they're like, what is wrong with these niggas? They afraid to get it how you live. There is nothing about that. This is not about color. The only color that matters is green. That is the only color we deal with here. And they look at us crazy because we ain't know that.
And then he had the nerve to say, oh, we come to America and do better. We do better. And then you ask them, well, okay, show us who's the Nigerian equivalent to a black American that's prospering right now. And he was holding his tongue so bad because he was going to say hush puppy. He was going to say hush puppy. He was actually going to say hush puppy.
Well, I'm pretty sure he would have been. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would have been, very, very reluctant to say that, because it's like, okay, dude, I'm ready for that one. I'm ready for that one. That's why I said, "Oh me in a Hellcat."
That's all I wanted to say.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I was saying, "Oh me in a Hellcat," because I was waiting to see if we gonna go skew over there to hush puppy or not. I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and do that. But that's why I want y'all to understand. Be specific. Once you start demanding specifics, all that stuff breaks down. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 813. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason. This is Jay from Tampa.
All right, Jay from Tampa. What's on your mind?
Yeah, my folks from Chicago. I just took offense when she talking about Chicago.
Okay, dude, if you're on speaker or Bluetooth or whatever, you need to take that off. You got a big reverberation going on there.
Yeah,
so if you're on speaker or Bluetooth, take that off.
Right. So, yeah, my folks are from Chicago, and I just took offense when she said that Chicago was a welcoming city. If people don't know, they tried to do like a Black Wall Street style massacre up there during the Red Summer of 1919. The black folks had to get guns and fight off the white folks coming from the north and the National Guard. We won, but when they talk about they need to be getting millions of dollars, when we got to Chicago, we had to get guns and go to war, just to survive. So
well, yeah, I mean, we're the ones who settled and pacified the environments. Now you've got a bunch of lazy, glad-handing, panhandling, sycophantic walk-behinders sitting up here trying to do what they always do and get unearned benefits. And just recognize the very second that the landscape turns difficult, they will be nowhere to be found. They're going to be looking around for the OGs, us, to come and pacify the environment again. Because we showed we were capable of doing it where we are here over the course of centuries. They couldn't do it where they are over the course of decades. And if you leave them to their devices, you're going to end up right back where you are. Because there's the real difference. We're the only people trying to upset the status quo. All these other folk are trying to buy in. They just want a comfortable place to be there, which is why they're being brought in. They're not trying to upset the status quo. They let these white supremacists run them in their home countries, and they understand, they're going to let us run them here too. They're going to let us run them here too. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I do have one person on the line. I'm not sure where they're calling from, but once again, if you're calling from outside of the country, you are going to need to make sure that you have pointed that out, by the way, to my mods. So, folks, your number's not showing up or things like that. You're going to have to make sure my mods know that you're calling in, so you can't just wildcat in. Please make sure you observe that. We go through this every night. Folks, my purpose of doing the nice program here is to remind you that they are part of the budget now. They are part of the budget. Like it or not, or believe it or not, they are a part of the budget. We've entered a dangerous new era. This is how serious they are. And notice they're targeting black enclaves and black cities. Notice they're doing that. New York City, the economic capital of America. Chicago, the transportation hub of America. That is not accidental. Going to take one more phone call here. Call from area code 703. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? All right, let me try that again. What's your name? Where you calling from again?
Yeah, my name is Yusuf. I'm calling from Arlington, Virginia.
All right, Yusuf from Arlington, Virginia. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was calling because I'm in the D.C. area here, and Howard University is right here in the D.C. area. Everybody know that. And the thing about it is that they come here and they go to the HBCUs, and I'm talking specifically at Howard because I'm in the D.C. area, and they give no respect. They give no respect and actually appreciation. That's the word I'm looking for. No respect and no appreciation, and saying that HBCUs let us come in. We became very successful thanks to the history and the legacy of the foundational Black Americans. We came to this country, and we was in a very safe environment. We didn't have to do all of that. Deal with all that racism from the predominant white institutions, and we had a pretty safe environment to excel academically in, and so forth and so on. They get their degree, they run out, and then they talk shit about us, And this is very bad. You see them in the dental schools, you see them in the medical schools from the Caribbean and Africa, all of these type of things, and they shit on us and talk a lot of shit about us in our HBCUs institutions. And I am very shocked of how a lot of the HBCUs are basically ignoring the foundational Black Americans now, and it seems to be a trend, and hiring a lot of the Africans being presidents of HBCUs.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a trend. Thing. Take a look at where they get their money from. Take a look at who they bend the knee to. This is not natural selection. This is engineered. They're bringing folk over here, and to make sure that the corruption sticks, they're replacing us with folk from immigrant backgrounds, to make sure that once it gets screwed, it stays that way. And then they take over the whole faculties and whatnot. And next thing you know, your historically Black college has become a neo-immigrant college. That's literally what you're seeing here now. It's not historically Black anymore. Now it's neo-immigrant. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Keep your eyes and your ears open, folks. Well, I do not say this to scare you. I say it so that you will be aware of the landscape that you are in and what you're going into and what you're really up against, so that you don't have any misnomers or any sort of mistakes in your heads about what you're really dealing with. It really is this big. It really is this bad. It really is this serious. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War, all available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. Once again, I want to send a shout out here to everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Venmo, Super Chat, Carmen Thomas. Thank you very much. All my new members here tonight, thank you very much as well. We appreciate that. Sandra and everyone else who's contributed to support tonight's program, we appreciate that. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future.